Sunday.
We're recording here.
I'm hoping that they were giving us a comparison.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are at 3 o'clock, so I will call the meeting to order. Let's start with Pledge of Allegiance, please.
This conference is no longer being recorded.
Sorry.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, before I take attendance, if I could just have a motion allowing Mr. Guy to fully participate in this meeting due to exceptional circumstances.
So moved.
Do I have and motion and a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Bob Gepper coming?
Bob's going to be running a little late, so in attendance we have Supervisor Guy, Supervisor Banks, Supervisor Tinkle, and Supervisor Walsh. Okay, just housekeeping items. If you're here in the building, just put your phones on mute if you wouldn't mind. If you are attending online, if you are not Supervisor Guy, please make sure that your phones are on mute. We can unmute you when it comes time for you to speak, if that's the case. We will start with public comments.
We have a Matthew Santini. He's online, but he did call in earlier today. There's actually an item that I was going to bring up during my update. He's from the Florida Flag Football League, and he has a request to use the fields for adult flag football on Sundays.
On Sundays. And is it Matt?
No, yeah, Matt
Matt.
Santini.
Hey, Matt, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Hey, Matt.
Thank you.
Go ahead. You
Hi.
have a couple minutes.
You got 5 minutes. Yeah.
5 minutes.
Yeah, I'll be quicker than that. So my name's Matt Santini. I help run Florida Flag Football. We're the largest adult flag football organization in the state of Florida. We've been around since 1960, before I even worked there, and we run adult flag football state ranking tournaments all across the state of Florida, and again, we've been doing it for a long time. We also have affiliated leagues, local leagues, all across the state. I happen to run one of those leagues here locally in Lee County. I've been running it since 2010. Typically, we get fields either through the county or the city. This year has been a little tough on that because we took a year off for COVID and tried to get back our fields, and unfortunately, it's first come, first serve, as you guys know. So now we're looking for a facility to run our league, and I just want to stress that we don't. The fact that it's adult flag football, we're very organized. We've been doing this for a long time. We're fully insured, and we don't allow any fighting or drinking or smoking, any of that stuff. It's very highly policed. We have a reputation to keep up, and we've been doing it in the community for a long time. We have a big following here locally on Facebook, and we have usually about 15 to 22 teams per season that we have in our league, and that can be either adult males, or we have a female division as well that we run. And typically we run on Sunday mornings between 9 a.m. and 2 p.m. And as far as the field painting goes, I know that might be a concern sometimes. We've worked with many local soccer organizations that have different colored paint on the field than us, and it usually is never an issue. We just paint a different color to not bother with their lines, and we handle all that, so we don't request that you do any painting or anything like that. That's basically it. I'm also a business owner here locally in Fort Myers. I run a company called Comlink Total Solutions. We've been in business for 7 years, and I'd be interested in helping with the youth league that they have in Gateway for flag football. A lot of my players actually coach in that league, so I'd be interested in maybe some sort of commingling between the two organizations, and definitely interested in helping sponsor the youth organization. So other than that, if you guys have any questions, let me know.
Yeah, Matt, and you are adult league only, correct? You don't do anything with the youth leagues, other than maybe.
No, we've done a children's league before, but the Gateway League is pretty well established, and I don't really like competing with somebody else's stuff. So that's our niche has been I've been running the adult league for over a decade, and we have a really good following, and a bunch of regulars who play with us. So yeah, we're not looking to get to the kids league, but we would like to sponsor the kids and maybe show them that there's an option as they get older to play in something competitive.
When you say adult, what does the age start at?
It's 18 and up.
18 and up. Okay. How many teams do you typically have in your league?
Typically, it's 15 to 22 teams. It really depends on the time of year, on how that can. I mean, sometimes we have as low as 10 teams.
Yeah.
But there's Cape Coral Parks and Rec has a flag football league, and so does Punta Gorda. There's a league called the C4 League out in Punta Gorda, Port Charlotte, and we sometimes kind of compete with them, but we're all friendly with them. So typically, there isn't any issues with that. But yeah, typically between 10 to 22 teams would be your answer.
And then how many fields are you looking to use?
We could get away with 2. We would prefer 3. And the field dimensions that we use are 40 yards wide by 100 yards long. So any typical soccer field is plenty big.
Okay, so you run almost, because like our junior leagues, our youth leagues, they run, I think, just about 3 to 4 fields on one soccer pitch. So on a typical 50 by 100.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because they typically probably do 5-on-5, and we're a 7-on-7 league. So
Okay.
5-on-5, you could easily fit 3 fields on one soccer field. But for us,
Yep.
we would use 1 field per soccer
Right.
field.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks. And then from a seasonal perspective, do you run seasonal? Is it a year long?
Yes. Yeah, we're year long, but we have seasons. So we'll have a spring league, a summer league, and a fall league. Is how we run every year. And like, for example, this summer I already have fields booked at North Fort Myers.
Okay.
So I wouldn't need you guys in the summer unless it winds up being a better deal. But we typically run 3 seasons per year.
Okay. And so you're just running during the day on Sunday. You won't need to run at night, correct?
No, yeah, just the day on Sunday works fine for us. If our only option was at night, we would consider it. But yeah, we try and stay on Sunday mornings.
Yeah. No, I don't think we have anything on Sunday.
No, we checked. He requested from 9 to 2 for 10
Yeah.
weeks, so there were no conflicts
Yeah,
as far as field usage.
Board, any questions for Matt?
Yeah, I have a couple of questions. What's percentage of your people that play in your league live here in Gateway?
I don't know that. I'd have to look at our addresses on file. I'm sure there's more than a few. We kind of have players from all around the area. I mean, we have players that come all the way from Naples sometimes. So, typically I would say it's mostly Fort Myers and Lehigh and Cape Coral players. But I could get back to you on that. I'm not exactly sure. I live off a tree line very close to Gateway, but I'm in Marina Bay, but I'm not in Gateway.
What kind of shoes do you guys use?
We just wear typical regular cleats, no metal cleats or anything like that. And just to be transparent, look, we don't tear the fields up as much as a soccer team would, just to be clear.
Okay.
That's all I have.
Anybody else? Okay. Thanks, Matt. We appreciate your time.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Okay. All right. Who's next?
Joe Schofield has, it just says non-agenda.
Joe Schofield, not representing anyone but me, Pelican Preserve. I just want to thank you as a group for getting this emergency road going. I got a notice that it's all squared away with the city, and I thank you guys for helping us so much and doing a great job. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe. You can come back and tell us how great we are whenever you want.
Anytime, Joe, anytime.
After it's built.
That's
now,
on-
we're doing
It
it.
must be
Yeah.
Joe McCulca. It just says Joe M, and because it says SBAC committee resolution, it's a non-agenda.
I just want to say what a great job you guys are doing.
Good thing this is recorded.
Nice try.
Joe McCulca from Stony Brook, and I chair the SBAC Advisory Committee. I just want to say I got good news. After a lengthy discussion yesterday at our monthly committee meeting, we've resolved the issues between us and also have agreed to go with, is Tony laughing at me over there?
No, it's a smile of appreciation.
We are, we're going to get ourselves down to one board member, and that we will conform to the other items that are in the suggested resolution. And all that we ask is that it take the time to implement it and become effective in April 6th, which would be after our election, which would clarify exactly who needs to go and who doesn't need to go.
That seems right.
Other than that, we're ready to move forward. And then going forward, it will be one. And I think it'll be a more clear-cut thing when someone runs, and if they get elected to the board and there's more than one, someone's got to step down. It'll be no question about it. They'll be done that way.
Well, nice job on that, Joe, because I know it wasn't easy. There was a lot of different inputs and recommendations. So,
I don't tell the guys what to do. I let them talk it out, and that's what
no,
we did.
Good job coming to a resolution.
Long meeting.
It is a long way to handle things. I agree with that. It's not
Well,
easy.
we have it set, Tony and I were talking, we have it set to be on the agenda for the next meeting, for you guys to finalize
Yeah.
that.
And if you have any questions, you got my phone number. You want to give me a buzz or anything, or have anything right now.
No, sir.
No,
All right, we're all good, so that's it then.
thanks, Joe.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Jody.
I don't have anybody else that signed up, and there are no chats online, so that should be the end of our comments.
Okay, great. So we'll move on to staff reports, and we'll start with district council.
As a follow-up to Mr. Schofield's thanks to the board, I want to also thank the WCILNR for signing the application. Also, the Pelican Reserve Community Association, their representatives were very helpful. Carol Brocky, extremely helpful in arranging meetings with a council member from Ward 6, Ms. Bonk. And also the city planning director, Steve Belton, was very helpful through all this. And the city manager, they met with us beforehand, and Rich Rittenberg was there, and Phil Measy, and Steve Adamczyk. So it was a good collaborative effort. Now we just need to move forward with the design plans, and also an email to Charles Mann to start working on the title work for that portion of the FPL easement, so we can have ownership of that. So it was a good effort. We don't have the approved final ordinance, but it was approved. It was much quicker than we thought. So it was very good team effort in that regard. With regards to the Lake 56, that's in Pelican Reserve. That's the two pipes, you recall. Back in last year, we sent in a letter to WCI. That's the lake that had two flared-in sections were supposed to be constructed, and one pipe was short. WCI has a retained counsel. The initial response was that my letter only addressed maintenance issues, and I pointed out, no, here's the defects. There was an on-site visit on the 1st, I think this past Tuesday,
Correct.
with representatives from WCI-LNR and district staff. I've had some conversations with the attorney for WCI-LNR, and hopefully we can come to the board, hopefully with the resolution of it in the next meeting or two. No guarantees, but we had some good discussions.
Is Charles handling that?
No, it's another firm. It's his name is Brian. Oh gosh, Dubon. It's formerly it was Cohen's Grigsby, so Charles is not handling that. And again, had a good conversation with the attorney to explain certain positions I think the board took. And one of the questions that I asked Steve Agapi later on was, how much would it cost for the length of pipe necessary to extend out of the bank for that one pipe, and then put the flared-in section on? And then also talk with Stephen about what would be the cost and what would be the maintenance issues if the one short pipe was to stay in the bank, but they put the flared-in section. That sounds more problematic from a maintenance perspective. So Stephen will be looking at that as we go forward.
Okay, Tony, can we go back to the road?
Yes.
Yeah. How was the language on the use? I saw several emails going back and forth. Did it just stay as was and nobody changed or challenged?
The final, I'll call it team agreed upon language was in the ordinance, and no one from the public signed up, nobody spoke on it. They asked if we wanted to speak. I said, we're here for any questions.
So we just left it as?
Yes.
Okay.
So again, that's why it was a very good effort to get that in there. The only person that said anything was Steve Belden. He just introduced it. And again, Nicole didn't say anything. So it worked out really well. On the FPL easement land, I've ordered the updated title work. This is the longer stretch of FPL easement lands that back 3 years ago, we had the initial discussions about the conveyance. Then we tried to get the assurances from Lee County about the linear park commitments.
You're talking about everything between Griffin and Gateway
Gateway
Boulevard?
Boulevard, yes. And the board said, let's just go forward and take it. So I've contacted the tower company to do the update. I've notified the surveyor that we may have an updated survey so we can move that along and hopefully wrap that up in a relatively short order. Had conversations and trying to wrap up the conservation area maintenance easement agreement with the Cayo Palone folks. And so we're getting close on that. Charles Robertson and I have had some calls and I revised it. He had some other questions, so hopefully we'll have that wrapped up shortly. We filed a lawsuit against Ford Line, and I don't want to have any discussions about the nature of that at this time. What are we requesting? The district's presently a party before court in the lawsuit called Gateway Services Community Development District versus Ford Line, Inc., DBA Ford Line Waterworks, and it's case number 22-CA 466, pending in Circuit Court, Lee County, Florida. As district council, we're advising the board at a public meeting pursuant to section 286.011, subsection 8 Florida statutes, that we desire advice at a private, closed-door attorney-client session concerning the pending litigation. The subject matter of the litigation session, private closed-door session, will be confined to settlement negotiations or strategy sessions related to litigation expenditures. We estimate an hour to an hour and a half. We're requesting that the board set the private closed-door attorney-client session to commence on February 17, 2002 at 5 p.m. or soon thereafter as possible. And the closed-door session will be held between the Board of Supervisors, myself, Lenore Brakefield, and/or Zach Lombardo as district counsel, and the district manager, interim district manager as the district's chief executive officer. And under Florida law, the entire session will be recorded by a court reporter. There she'll be present, or he'll be present also. And then it's sealed, and once it's transcribed and maintained until the conclusion of the litigation.
Who's the first name?
Lenore Brakefield.
Who's that?
She's my partner. She does litigation,
Yeah,
and
okay,
she's on
now I know.
558 matters also. So what we're requesting now is that the board set the private closed-door session to commence on February 17, 2002 at 5 p.m. As we advise the board, we desire advice at that session.
It's at the end of our next meeting?
Yes, sir. And we will then provide the notices if the board so sets that. So I'd like to have a motion for the board to set that private closed-door attorney-client session in the lawsuit against Ford Line commencing on February 17, 2022 at 5 p.m. or as soon thereafter as possible.
So moved.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Was there a change in 28C? Or was that just the letter of the alphabet there was nothing in that clause I was
That
talking
was
about?
blank.
It was a blank?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was called the Scrivener.
I couldn't figure out what
That's
it
what it
was.
was.
Okay.
It's Scrivener. One other item, let's see, I'm trying to think of, Laura will report, maybe Laura under yours or Gary, with regards to the line of credit agreement with First Horizon Bank. If you recall, the board back on December 9th adopted a resolution and approved the line of credit agreement in substantially final form. Since that time, we, with bond counsel, have been finalizing it, tweaking it to make sure it's consistent with Florida law. We have that final form of agreement right now. The loan closing is scheduled to take place on February 8th. And there'll be a first advance of $50,001. It's required
Triggers taxes.
for the tax compliance certificate by bond counsel. Absolutely correct. So Laura, if you want to reference that now or wait until your report.
Yeah, it's item four,
And
action
again,
item
the board's already
4B.
approved the line of credit agreement substantially final form, and the resolution's approved, so it's authorized to be signed by the chairman. And then Laura can go briefly through the documents or just advise the board. But also, we talked today about really moving forward with the team to do the ultimate validation to take that loan out. I mean, that's the goal of the board, to do the multi-year as opposed to the 5-year maturity. This note's an advance, it's a line of credit with advances. It matures December 2026, that way you're well within the 5 years. But there's a conversion date of June of 2023.
Yes.
So we want to try to achieve everything before that date. And I don't know if you want to wait until Laura makes her report.
What date in 2023?
June of 2023.
June 1st.
So we have 15 months, basically, 16 months.
Yes.
And that's more than enough time to do the validation, but we really need to get that going. But on that, I might also mention that Stevens reached out to Brent Seeley. Brent's has been an FA before, financial advisor to the board and other bond issues. So we're going to have a call hopefully tomorrow afternoon to move forward on that with Stephen, because he's got the task authorization to do it. And we have
This just allows us to move the payment schedule down the road.
to
Extend the payment schedule.
extend the maturity,
Extend it.
make it a 20-year, 30-year
20-year.
borrowing, yes.
Good.
And nothing else to report at this time, subject to any, and research some of the materials for the fencing encroachment request that will be coming up, so. And ready for that discussion when the board's ready.
Okay, thank you, Tony. Stephen, District Engineer.
Good afternoon, everyone. Stephen Agapi, Tetra Tech District Engineer. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yep.
All right. I just have a couple of updates today. No new TAs this meeting. On the Phase 2 Year 1 Lake Bank Restoration Project, we have our final walkthrough on Lake 93 and Daniels Preserve. That's scheduled for early next week. So that'll put a bow on that project, and we can get that off this list. On the flowway weir adjustments, the original weirs are still in South Florida for review. We have a pre-permitting meeting next Thursday for Pond 38. So that one's still moving along. On the next round of lake bank restoration, we had our pre-bid meeting on January 24th at the meeting room you guys are in right now. The bids are scheduled to be open on the 14th of this month. We had a decent turnout, a lot of the usual characters at the pre-bid, and a couple of new contractors. So hopefully we'll get some good competitive bidding on this project. On bond validation assistance, I think Tony brought it up a little bit, but we're having a meeting tomorrow to continue working on that. That's it for my projects. A lot of these other projects are Fred's or utility projects, and I can answer some questions if you have any at this time.
Stephen, this Ed. Hey, you're talking about Pond 38. That's Pelican Preserve.
Correct.
Okay. Are we addressing it at the same time we're doing the next 9 ponds? 38 wouldn't be a part
No,
of our
Pond
bond
30
issue.
Pond 38 is for a flowway. It's a weir project, so it has a control structure in the pond.
But it's not a
And
part of
we've
our
been,
SRF financing.
We're putting a weir gate on that
Yeah.
control structure.
My question is, it's not a part of the SRF financing project.
No. That SRF project's only for lake bank restoration.
Thank you. That's all.
Pull it up the old-fashioned way.
So any additional questions for Stephen? Okay, we'll go under District Manager reports. Gary, we'll start with you.
Mr. Chairman, board members, you have my memo in your packet of my activities for the month. And then this morning, I sent out an email to you about the district manager search.
Yeah. And
If you have any questions,
Yeah, I've got Tony just confirming how we're going to disposition candidates out. So I got your notice of rejection, if that's the right term. So
just a
we'll be
sample.
looking at, and I've got Tony looking at, last board meeting, he brought his recommendation for panel, which seemed a little convoluted. So I've talked with Tony about a revised process. He's vetting that out, and as soon as
Trying to vet it out now on the
trying to vet it
fly.
out, but while so we might be able to have an update for the meeting, but
Yeah, because one approach could be, staff can make recommendations without triggering the sunshine law. I'm reading, Zach's doing some quick research, Zach Lombardo in my office. So as long as there's no ranking and all candidates are passed on to the board along with all information generated, as opposed to calling people out, that's the difficulty. Is when you assign one person to call people out and make those initial subjective determinations, then you may trigger the sunshine law.
yeah. So part of the amended process that I talked to Tony about is now that Laura has withdrawn from consideration, we can have a central point of contact, and I guess it's probably pertinent to let the board know that Gary's last day will be on a week from Friday. My recommendation is to insert Laura into that first initial phase, have her do the minimum qualification, the first initial screen. From there, it would go to what I'm calling an on-site visit. So candidates would come in, they would ride with let's say Kenny or staff learn about the district, see what we're all about, so they know what they're getting into as far as our scope and size and everything else. And then anything that passes Laura would go to on-site visit and then be scheduled for an interview with each board member. So what I've done is I've kind of pulled myself out of the front and inserted it back on the back end because it makes more sense to me.
What's got me concerned about this, Doug, is that, as I understand it, we lost a candidate because of timing. This process is, to me, dragging way too much. Why can't we just simply have, and I don't think there's anything wrong with it, Laura and Cal, vet these people, get them to us as a board, and we meet with them all together one time and be done with this, so we don't lose another candidate. I mean, I looked at this stuff that Gary sent down, and I started reading these, and the one we lost right now in my deal was the best one of the deal. We made a mistake. We waited too long. We didn't pull the trigger. We can't have that happen again. So if Cal and Laura would review these, get them to us, I see no reason why. What do we have, Tony? 48 hours that we call a meeting and we interview them.
Well,
Be done with
no,
it.
You can only call a meeting like that when there's an emergency, otherwise you can.
It's an
need 7
emergency
days.
if we don't have a district manager.
Otherwise, you need 7 days.
7
Well,
days.
we can
Notice.
still, which
Well, we can tell the guy that, hey,
we
got
can just schedule
7
the
days.
interviews, and they're just phone interviews with each one of us. We don't have to meet as a group. We can just schedule those interviews.
And-
So keep it running, because we're going to have applicants coming in all at different times.
If we could do that to keep it going, I
I
consent.
agree.
But my thing is get these people back to us quickly, because when I went through that, I was kind of like what Gary did. Some of these were just plain down no-brainers. They weren't qualified.
Well, again, Zach's doing the research on the fly. You know, he cited, and Zach's listening to the board meetings, so I appreciate that. He said, the staff can make recommendations but cannot rank or call.
No, I'm not-
Everything-
So that's-
every-
Yeah, I'm not
everything
looking
has-
for them to do that.
Everything has to come to the board.
Yeah, I
Is that correct, Zach? Send me a text.
well, it'd be, well,
So
my-
what you're saying is, candidate resume or interest comes through, Laura will talk to every candidate. Well, that's what I need Zach to verify. She has to, is there a step from submit to first interview? You know, is there, because we're gonna have, let's say 20 people come through, is staff required to talk to all 20, or can they disposition based on not meeting minimum qualifications?
They can't call them. In other words, I think they need to make a recommendation to the board on all the candidates.
say that again?
They need to make a recommendation to, if you don't want to have
Well, what they do,
meetings, they can make recommendations
they
to the
just
board on
indicate
all
that-
the
Like
candidates.
we
Yeah,
we
they're
are the
not
hiring managers,
qualified.
so
20
we
people
tell
come
them
in.
who we want to proceed with
No,
and who we don't.
20 come in, the staff says, we recommend, here's our recommendations as to these 20, and they don't eliminate any, they don't rank any.
all that does is just make it a little bit longer, but
Yeah.
we get to those people and let them know that, hey, you're not qualified.
But we don't have to batch them.
Who's-
We can do that one
Yeah.
as they come through. So
But
as,
we just gotta-
let's say John Doe comes in on Tuesday, Laura reviews them, passes through with her recommendation, comes to the board, and then we make a determination whether we're going to proceed to board interview.
I believe that'd be
Or
that'd
not.
be fine, I'll just, again.
We don't have to batch them, that's my point.
Oh, okay,
Well,
I
could
guess,
we-
I guess this got me confused, is that if Laura and Cal can't rank them and can't do anything,
It's a
and
pass
they're
or
all
fail.
gonna come through to us,
There's no.
then why are we having
But they
this?
can recommend, so it's a pass or fail, but they cannot rank.
Well, can we do the other way around?
can
Can
make-
we look at it and maybe rank them just numerical order so we know what we're talking about? And at the next meeting say,
No, you have to.
There's
rank
no
them in
need to
public.
rank.
You would have, you need.
I'm not meaning like ranking and,
It's a proceed or not proceed.
yeah, exactly. So
That's
then
what it is.
we will give direction to Laura and Cal and say, from the 20 applicants, the 7 that you have here is what we, the board, want you to
Yeah, but you
go ahead and vet
don't,
it.
the board doesn't want to be going through 20,
That would make it
30.
faster.
It
I mean,
won't, not if
like
we.
to Ed's point, there are a few that it's.
Well, the trouble is that if they can't rank, and all they do is give a recommendation, we haven't saved any time.
Yeah.
We haven't saved any
And I just
time.
think we as a board.
Well, what we're
can
doing
look
is
at it
we're
and
eliminating
get a lot
out of the
out,
20 we
yeah.
get, 3 might pass through. We're eliminating us having to review 17.
Yeah, but they still
17
have to do
applicants.
it.
No, again, the staff cannot call them or eliminate
Right.
people.
Well, it's a,
So they have
based
to
on the
talk
recommendation, I thought you said
So they
based
have
on the
to just
recommendation, they can
No,
recommend or
they-
not.
They can make recommendations to the board, and the board can say.
That's the deal. It doesn't save any time.
Yeah.
It's a pass-through to us, and the question is whether it's a pass-through to us, carte blanche with their recommendation, or it comes straight to us.
So then
Yes.
how do we communicate 5 individual recommendations?
You can't do that. The
Can't
board-
do
they
that.
can-
So we have to, in the board meeting, we'll say,
Yes.
all right, okay, each board meeting will have a stack of, here's the candidates that have gone through. I recommend we move forward this. I agree, I
Yeah, so
agree.
that's kind of what I was
That's-
thinking.
So we're gonna,
We
Yep.
do it first, so then it's less
so
work for.
to Ed's
And we
point,
could go much quicker that way.
well, we
Yeah.
won't because it'll be in 2-week intervals.
Well, that's what I was trying to figure out, is that can we do it quicker? And it sounds like he said 7 days, so I don't know.
No,
We
wait,
cut it in
no,
half.
What the board, I mean, 7 days if you're gonna have a meeting outside your normal scheduled meeting time, you can do that. Or, say by way of example, if you find out that 6 resumes came in this past Tuesday, and the next regular board meeting isn't until the 17th, you could say, let's continue this meeting to a date and time certain next week.
Yeah.
For the sole purpose of considering those.
Additional
6
applications.
Or those 6 applications that came in the door.
Well, the other thing
And we
it
can do that
does,
virtual, right?
Well, you have to establish the quorum physically.
quorum physically. But the issue about it is that if you're a candidate, again, the guy that we lost, if he knows that we're going to make a decision at a date certain, then
As
he.
to him.
To him, yeah, we might,
Yeah.
that might be something that he'd be willing to stick around.
Right.
Right now, we're
I
not
mean, 2
giving
weeks
them
is not,
anything, and they
2 weeks is
don't
not
know.
the big of a deal, but it will take us a minimum of 4 weeks to make a decision.
Now,
Because
again,
2 weeks
if
to
you- if
proceed
you
and
wanna
then 2 weeks
task-
for final
If
decision.
you want to task Laura and/or Laura and Cal to call the applications, they can do that, but it have to be in a public meeting, public session.
Again, we just don't save anything.
Yeah.
Get them in here as quick as possible. We go through what we've said, and from what I'm reading of these things, there's going to be, it's going to look like freshman year at Purdue in engineering going to English class. There's going to be a lot of dropouts, and that's what I think is going to happen here.
Okay.
There's going to be a lot of dropouts because they aren't qualified.
Okay, so so we have another thing we need to review. So with Gary leaving, I think the recommendation is, and we've got just a couple months left on our contract, you know, what my recommendation would be is we keep Scott intact through the contract. I think the needs that we had at the beginning of the process are probably a little different than they are today. You know, Gary, would you agree that, you know,
Correct.
the staff is managing a lot of the workload.
Very
So
much.
what my recommendation would be is, in the interim, in Gary's absence, we allow Laura to act as the interim district manager until the position is filled. Then she can see. The problem is coordination with Cal. Now I sent Cal. I talked to him earlier this week, and I said, look, with Gary leaving, our main priority right now, that I think with Premier, is 2 things. We need consulting when we need it, and we need help filling these roles. I asked him if he would be willing to dedicate a certain amount of time each week to help assist with this process, and he was going to get back to me, and I haven't heard back from
Well,
him yet.
Gary's on vacation, or Gary's on vacation. Cal's on vacation. And he won't be back until Friday late. Let's do this. Continue this meeting later on. Set it up next week when Cal gets back in,
That's
before
okay.
Gary leaves.
That's what I wrote down, so thanks for reading my mind.
I was reading out of the side there.
Apparently.
I don't have my glasses on, I can't read nothing.
Continue this meeting?
Yes,
The next
continue
week?
this meeting next week to when Cal gets back. Set the meeting up at Tuesday, Monday, I don't care, whatever the date is. Get Cal's input, because Cal's got an issue here, is that right now, he has the responsibility for running the district. He needs to make a decision or make have a say in this deal that we're making. We're making the assumption that he's going to go along with this proposal, because Laura will be reporting to him.
No.
No,
No,
No.
no, that's the way it's
That's-
got to be by our contract.
No.
That's what our contract
I
says
would-
right now.
is our contract with the
Our
district
contract
mayor, or
with-
is it with Gary?
No.
Our contract with PDM requires the district manager works through. Cal is the district manager.
But Cal doesn't do anything.
Yeah,
He has
Cal
zero
doesn't.
interaction with staff. He
Doug,
does zero.
Doug, that's why I want to have the meeting. We need to get Cal's input on how this is going to work.
No,
it's
I
not-
disagree. I think
It's not
I
that
think-
simple.
I think it is very simple. I think based on what our needs are today, what we need from Premier at this point is Scott and we need
But that's
additional.
not what our contract says.
I'm pulling it up, just give me a minute.
We need Scott, and
If
we
you could
need
send it to me when you pull it up.
consulting, probably 10 hours a week, both for consulting and helping with filling these positions that we have open. That's the primary
Can you go back up
point
to
of
the
focus
beginning?
right now.
The manager is
Sorry.
the entity. If you can go back up to the preamble, way at the beginning. So Premier District Management LLC is the manager. If we can go down then to the
And that's,
statement, and then it says Gary is the primary person. If you keep going, or the manager should probably write
So
it.
Gary's acting on behalf of Premier.
that's correct. And Premier hasn't had a say in this. This is why I think we need Cal's involvement to make sure that we don't have a problem that we're jeopardizing the agreement.
But what's there to jeopardize?
Well, I think part of the
I mean, there's
agreement.
the,
if you
the
can-
value comes from what Scott is providing, and
Scott's part of the agreement. That's the problem, Doug.
yeah,
That's part of the
you're
agreement.
saying if Cal doesn't agree, he could just not agree with the whole.
That's
whole
exactly,
thing. Okay.
that's exactly
All
what
right.
I'm saying.
Okay, I understand what you're saying now.
And again, 5 days, what's the big deal? Wait till next Tuesday, call a meeting in the afternoon, and
I guess first of all, maybe.
Because I need him to agree on
Cal needs just
the
to agree
support for
with.
this, for these roles.
Yes,
Like,
yes.
we're so behind on these roles. It's,
Yeah, I suggest that first be determined whether or not you would have a fiscal quorum present. That would be February 8th, if it's Tuesday. And the board can pick whatever time it wishes that day. If that,
Yeah,
I'll make myself available.
I'll make myself able, as
Yeah,
long
I
as
could be
it's
available.
after 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock or
so
after.
the
Well,
consensus.
let's do like just a 4 to 5.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Okay.
So the consensus is, at the end of this meeting, it will not be adjourned, but will be continued to 4 PM on February 8th.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if you've got, as chairman, if you've got a process in mind, I'd suggest getting it to Cal so
Yeah.
that he doesn't come cold turkey, so that we get this done at the meeting.
Yeah,
And get
okay.
this done at the meeting.
Makes sense.
And in the meantime, just for clarification as to what process the board wants to, when any new applicants come in the door, does the board want to have them sent in batches with recommendations from Laura or staff as to the individuals without calling them? In the meantime, you want to have that discussion next week?
Yeah.
Have that discussion next week,
I
but-
like that as is, like how she sends it, I mean, I check it daily, so.
Well, she will send it as is.
Yeah.
However, we won't be able to make a decision until we convene in the board meeting.
Well, why wouldn't we, if we're looking at them and checking, and each one of them, I think, each of us have a pretty good idea of who qualifies and who doesn't. I mean, that's not that difficult.
You could do it rolling if you want to.
That we call,
So it doesn't have
call
to be on
Laura
the
and
record
say,
during the
hey,
board meeting?
that one's hot, let's make sure.
No, the board would need to make a decision saying, okay, we have these 5 candidates in the door. Let's invite 3 of them for interviews before the board. The board can do that. Or let's invite all 5, or let's not invite any of this first batch of 5.
Well,
Next.
yeah, but I really don't want them. I mean, I'd rather them not come into the board meeting to interview. We would still do them individually, but we would.
Or you can make that
Yeah.
process.
So what would happen
Say,
is you can send them as they come in, so we can review them, give us time, and then each board meeting we will have an agenda that says
which ones do you want to have the
candidate
one-on-ones
review,
with?
and we will proceed. And then from
Correct.
there we go immediately to scheduling
One-on-ones.
board interviews, and then by the following 2 weeks, when we come in, we'll make a decision. Hey, we've interviewed these 4 candidates. Are they moving on to final selection? Is there one that's blown us away? Do we need to make a decision?
Is there any, I hate to ask you this question, no one knows in my future. Can we talk and communicate with Laura or Cal direct and say, hey, I've looked at A, B, D, E, and F, and they ain't gonna get it?
Well, I thought
Can
that.
we pass our information on,
But they cannot pass it on to any other board member, and they can't.
so they
But
cannot
it almost be
communicate
redundant,
that
though,
back to
'cause
any
we
other
still
board?
have to do that in the board meeting. So
And
you can
that's-
send over, but we have to make that
So
decision.
this is
in the
what I
board
was thinking,
meeting.
we could do it on Tuesday, don't adjourn, and then come on Tuesday, and then we review everything that's on the share book, and we write the list, the individual list of who we wanted. And then we just make motions, I would like for Laura to go with this one, and if all of us agree, then she goes.
And I will
So
say, and we,
each of us
and,
will
and
have
can we
4
do
or
this,
5,
Tony?
you know what I mean?
If we
Does that
do
make
have,
sense?
let's say, we have a good number of candidates coming through, and we have a few that look good. If we need to expedite that process, so let's say we're meeting today, and we have 3 candidates that we really like. We're gonna approve those to pass to the next phase, which would be board interviews. Can we if we want to keep that process going, could we basically postpone the meeting to the following week?
Or you could continue. it.
Or
Continue it.
continue it, I'm sorry,
Well,
continue it to the
yeah,
following week,
well-
just to,
You can't, my concern is if you continue the continued meeting to another week, then I would always suggest.
no, it would
that
just,
you need to
you'd only have one
re-advertise.
continuance.
Yeah, to the next meeting.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because in the other
Yes.
one, you would have had
Even
a
if
meeting
it's
that
just,
week
even
anyway.
if,
You do
even if it's
another one
just,
the next
Yeah, 'cause
meeting.
even if we just come in for 30 minutes to say, hey, this candidate's
I
moving
agree.
on to the
We
next
just,
phase.
we gotta do something to make sure that we do not lose another
Yeah.
possible candidate.
Okay, so should Cal be
Yeah.
looking at all the, so like, we are gonna be looking at all those candidates for Tuesday and come with our own list that we either are gonna agree or disagree and pass it on to Laura. Should Cal be looking at that too, so then he knows when we are somewhat talking about it, that he agrees or does not agree with us?
Well, the
Give it
question's
Laura.
gonna be, is Kyle,
Well, he
does
can,
Kyle or Laura, let's see, would they be a part of that final interview? So they'd meet with the board, and what do we want them to meet with?
I'd much rather have their opinion on the front side than
Well,
on
they-
the,
I
on
don't
the
think they-
back side.
they-
Recommendation, they can make recommendations,
Yes.
but they can't
Okay.
call, they
Yeah,
can't
understand,
eliminate.
understand.
So, but it's,
Yeah,
if
and-
I'm just reading a paper resume, I can give you a recommendation, but unless I get that kid on the phone and have a conversation, that recommendation's probably gonna be.
They can do the fact
thin.
finding, and I believe they can do the interviewing and make recommendations, but they cannot eliminate.
But
Understand.
I thought you said they
They
cannot.
cannot rank.
I
They
thought you said they
cannot
cannot
eliminate.
call, they cannot have a,
I
Call.
think I said that.
They can't call anybody.
C-U-L-L, I'm sorry.
C-U-L-L.
oh,
Like-
they
Like
can't call.
calling a herd.
Oh, they can't call,
I'm
okay.
sorry. It's my Western New York accent.
He had it in the Midwest too.
Okay, so let me circle back, because
Sorry about
I must
that.
have misunderstood what you're saying. Because ultimately, what we.
Sorry, Doug.
in
that's
college,
all
Ultimately,
it is.
ultimately, what we'd like to do is have Laura or Kyle talk to those individuals before they get to us.
And
That's
make-
part of that kind of
Recommendation.
recommendation process.
Yes, interviewing them separately, or interviewing them, then making recommendation to the board without ranking them, eliminating them.
Yeah.
Disqualifying anybody.
But they could recommend.
Make
They could recommend, they can't
recommendations.
rank. So, again, look, I'm in the process, which is back to my original.
And Zach, if you're there,
process.
pipe up, or if, because you're there doing all the research, since I don't have access to it all.
So
Zach's
what I
on the
think
phone.
should happen, but they will have to talk to, if they talk to one, they're gonna have to talk to all? Or can they
I think that's-
disposition out based on just not meeting minimum qualifications based on what the resume says?
To tell you the truth, the ones that I've looked at, I'm not gonna waste my time talking to.
Well, that's
I
what-
mean,
that's a
That's
determination
a
we
waste of
need.
time.
So Tony, if 20 resumes come in, ideally, I'd like to have Laura,
They cannot eliminate. In my
So they would
thinking
have-
about it, yeah.
So, yeah, you're just back to square one. The
But I
way
thought
we
you said
said
they
it,
can
is the only way you can
recommend.
do it.
They can make recommendations, but that's not eliminating.
right, okay,
They're
yeah.
recommending,
Yeah,
don't
I'm
go any
not saying,
farther, don't go any farther, don't
right,
go any
but
farther.
that's my point. It's-
But they're
so
not ranking,
If they
saying,
can
"Oh, of
recommend,
the
but not
20
eliminate, yeah, one second, if they can recommend, not eliminate, if they get 20 applicants that come in, would they need to talk to all 20, even if they're not minimally qualified?
Would we as the board?
No,
Good question, I don't know.
Okay.
I'll check
I
that
think
out.
That's why I like
we-
we as the board, because we are doing the first selection, and I think
Get it
we are
over
well, we
pretty,
need to insert,
we will, but I think between the five of us, we really are really in line, and I think we're gonna be agreeing pretty much on
so
the
maybe
four
it's
or
like
five.
this, so it's.
And then goes to them.
Resumes gets passed through to us. We are in the board meeting. We'll determine who we're moving forward with,
Mm-hmm.
which means it'll be a board interview. From there, if we get down to finals, that's where we can pull in
Then we're in a
staff.
different whole deal then.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
because we did it first.
Because we
instead
want to
of
have
them.
we want to
Yes.
have staff and we
Of
want to have
course.
Kyle's
Yep,
input.
whole
Yeah.
different deal then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Laura as well. Okay. All right. At least
All
we
right,
get
good.
at least we get to
Thanks
We
for
got there.
75% of the way.
What I suggest, so we have clarity on this, is that
gonna request
I'll work
that.
with Laura and the chair between now and next Tuesday and work up little bullet points so that, because we've had a pretty broad ranging discussion of this, so we understand fully what the process is.
Okay, let me throw a wrench in this really quick. So, but this is only for the district manager role that we have to go through this process.
Yes,
For the public works position, for the business manager, that still can be hired.
that's hired by
through
the
staff.
manager,
Now,
not by the board.
there is cases that we have today, and we probably will, where we might have someone apply for a district manager role, but has a background that's more in line with another role.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Staff can say, hey, we also have another
Mr.
position
Smith,
that you
Mrs.
might,
Jones, you want to
that
come
you
on
might
board
also be
as-
valid for, and they can have conversations with those individuals on that
Yes.
particular opening.
Yeah,
completely
Because
separate
that doesn't come
from.
to the board.
Yeah, okay.
Do what?
That does not come to the board.
Because that allows us to not slow down on some of these others. 'Cause
Unless-
we've already seen examples of individuals that have applied
But-
that might be a better
But I
fit.
might need to double check, because if I recall, there might be some positions that require the approval of the board in the employee manual, I'm not sure.
Not that one.
Just the district manager.
It's just the district manager.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
All the other hiring and firing.
Solely at
is
the
done by
discretion of the manager?
district
Okay.
So I think by Tuesday, we'll really have figured it out, because if there's any, as long as we don't all agree that we want that particular one for the district manager, then
Well, they
it's
can
free
cross
for all,
consider.
and she
They can
do-
cross consider
yeah. Mm-hmm.
at the first stage. So as they're looking through, look, hey, this candidate has utilities background or ponds or whatever. They'll notify, hey, we've got another position. Would you be interested in having discussions around that position in parallel to the district manager? And they'll say, oh yeah, sure. So Lori and Kyle or Scott, whoever, can have conversations there, but they're still being considered. the
But
district
my
manager.
my only concern on that would be that when the recommendations come to the board, that the board doesn't receive a report saying, well, I talked to Susie or Johnny about taking this other position, and I think that can kind of color.
Well,
Yeah.
That's
I think
all-
Not
just
really,
take
not really,
whatever
because those
left
are
over
those
from
are
us and do it.
those are independent openings, and they should be treated as such. So you can apply for one position, two position, three
Right,
position,
no, no, but
and
I'm
you'll be
talking about
managed.
I'm talking about what comes to the board. I would suggest that if there were conversations about that.
They're
person-
completely separate. Now, even if Laura wants to say, hey, I'm interviewing candidate John Doe for Public Works, John Doe might also be a candidate for district manager, but those conversations will be independent.
Okay.
Walking
I think.
in line there.
Yeah. Well, but I mean,
As long as he's still applicable for the district manager position. it's a
They
thin
can't rank
line.
them. I mean,
Yeah, you're
that's
Well,
where.
as
As long as he's not excluded, because
well,
of
Correct.
and
consideration.
as long as the
That's
point of
correct.
consideration for the district manager is not influenced by
Is
him
yea
being
or
considered
nay,
for
or
other
he
positions.
or she yea or nay in the other one.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's.
So the one that we lost, because I'm looking at the share folder, it's not, because I don't know which one it is, which,
Tibbs.
okay. So then are you planning on like removing him from the?
He's already off the last list. I saw the one Gary sent
Give a
out.
deed.
He was,
haven't moved him yet, but I can.
Oh, okay, because I'm from the list, but not on the folder, because I'm trying to use
Oh,
the share
yeah.
folder now.
Okay.
okay.
But what I will prepare a little bullet outline, just to make sure we're all on the same page from next Tuesday.
But if we find, staff finds a person that's qualified for one of those other positions, why can't those be brought to us immediately with a recommendation? The only issue I see that we would have is that if we would want to hire one, we don't have a district manager in position to basically get his 2 cents worth. That's the only thing that's bad about it. But we're in a position where we may not have the
Well, the solution for
case,
that.
we may not have the time to sit there and say no to a really good candidate because we want to wait till we get a district manager first. So can you hang around for 30, 60,
No,
90 days? We don't want to do
So
that.
that decision will be made between Laura and let's say, under the current circumstances, Laura and Kyle. And
I
what
can
I
do
would
it.
imagine is they would bring that, here's a,
With Kenny's input.
with Kenny's input as well,
And,
of course.
I've
And they would bring that
Scott as
recommendation
well.
to the board, so
Okay.
for
I-
awareness. And
I agree
for-
with
yeah.
that.
Yeah,
Okay.
hire
So-
this person as a staff member.
Yeah,
This
I'm
position.
pretty
I
sure
agree
the
with that.
staff wouldn't hire a position without
Okay.
at least consulting the board.
I,
Okay.
I'm good with that.
Okay, all right.
I'm good with this one.
Gary, anything else from you?
No, just,
Okay.
it's good to speed up that process and get it done.
Yeah,
Yes.
I agree. Laura, we'll move to you.
The business manager hiring update, I was not having much luck at all finding anybody, but I did get a really, really good candidate, a potential candidate, who I'm interviewing tomorrow afternoon. She does have previous business manager experience. She has some HR background. She has a lot of accounting background. On paper, she looks like she'd be perfect, so I'm meeting with her tomorrow
Good.
afternoon.
Fingers crossed.
She's immediately available from what I understand, so we'd be able to bring her in pretty quickly.
Good.
The modular repairs, they're done. The mold is gone, the walls are up, the floor is in, everything is back to normal. The final bill has been paid. The total cost was $29,920, of which insurance reimbursed us for $28,920. So we paid $1,000 for the repairs.
That's good.
We have a new intern. I don't know if Al was gonna have this in her update or not. We hired a stormwater intern. Her name is Madison Mullen. She's working on her master's in environmental science. She started on the 24th, and she's just working on Mondays for now during the school year for 8 hours. License,
What's her name again?
Madison Mullen,
Madison.
yeah.
And she's for stormwater, is that what I heard?
She's a stormwater intern, yep. She's working with Elle every Monday. They go out in the field and Elle is working with her. She's working on her master's in environmental science. So this is exactly what she went to school for, so she's very excited.
Just out of curiosity, if we had an intern, couldn't an intern pull water samples?
Yeah, I think she's working with Elle to do
Okay.
that, so yeah.
I was thinking, you know,
Yeah.
if that's a resource constraint, if we had someone that could just go out there and pull it consistently, that'd be
Yeah.
a nice.
How long she's gonna be, 8 hours a
She
week?
only works on Mondays for 8 hours, because her school schedule doesn't allow her to work any other days than that right now.
Later on, she could work more.
When she's not in school, she'll be able to work a little more, but right
She
now it's just
live in
Mondays.
Gateway by any chance?
I'm sorry?
She live in Gateway by
No,
any chance?
no.
Is this a paid intern?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if there's other internship opportunities,
We actually had some discussions about that, possibly with like that program, or the project manager slash.
or even just around, like, if you've got one intern that's working with ponds and they're only here for 8 hours, you pull somebody else in that could pull samples. I mean, I think it would be advantageous, you know.
What is her school? What school? She goes-
FGCU.
FTCU.
Yep.
They've got a pretty strong
She
environmental.
just started
biology.
she's in her first
Yeah,
semester of her
Gwen Abraham,
master's.
those guys, that's what my wife was.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they've got a strong program over there.
My wife did the Frog County years back when she got her degree there.
That's good.
The license plate readers, they're having some supply issues getting some of the parts in, so, and they're keeping me updates. I get regular updates from them, so I'll let you know as soon as those are up and running. I am all trained in it. It's very easy to use. I did find out, there was a question at the last meeting what the retention period was on the images. The online retention period is 30 days. However, we do have the capability to log in and download anything in perpetuity for whatever we would need. The reason for the 30 days is that they worked with law enforcement, and law enforcement says if we haven't looked at it in 30 days, it's too old and it doesn't do them any good. So
Okay.
that's why they only keep them for 30 days.
And did you check to see if we have any insurance breaks by having that technology installed?
I did not check that, but I
Okay.
will.
Might be worth just looking into.
Okay. The rental space update, kind of striking out there. I haven't been able to find anything yet, so I've been putting more effort into the loan stuff this last couple weeks. Or this last week, I didn't have a lot of time to go into it. I did send over the letter of recommendation, or support, I should say, for that multi-use pathway along Daniels. Scott went on and looked at it. It did not interfere with any of our structures and not even close to anything out there. So Lee County was very appreciative that we were in support of that. They had to have it turned in by, the application by January 28th, so that's why I went
That's
ahead.
that sidewalk.
Yeah, the
Cart
sidewalk,
path.
where they're gonna join the paths all together. And finally, the last thing I have is, the Lee County Sheriff. I just talked to them, got us all set up for 2022 for the patrolling. I did add in something for them to please come by the soccer fields and check them after dark and let them know that if there's anybody out there playing and the lights are not on, they are not supposed to be there. They have my cell phone number and they will call me because they're not allowed to issue trespass without talking to someone first. And that was all I had.
Roughly, what's our unit number of hours per month?
With them?
Yeah, they work in what, 4-hour shifts?
Yeah, I can check and I'll let you know. I'll pull it up.
Reason
while-
I ask is Sunday I walked the dog before church and it would have been about 7:30 to 8 o'clock. Came down Gateway Boulevard between Walden Lakes and the Gateway Greens entrance. And if I didn't know any better, I would have thought I was at Daytona. There were cars going down there. There was a black Mustang. It went by me, I swear, 90 mile an hour. Somebody has got to get out there and start issuing tickets more frequently. And they could go there at that swimming pool, hide behind that tree, and they would make their quota
They were there today.
in no time at all. What I don't understand is what is their hesitancy for not doing that? When they go out there, they park in a spot that Stevie Wonder can see them. What's going on? It almost looks like that they don't want to issue a ticket. You can't have cars driving that fast down that road, and my residents are screaming bloody murder about it.
Laura, can we contact Lee County Sheriff's Office and get a report for how many tickets were issued?
They send something, well, I haven't gotten one lately, but they're supposed to send me one every time they're out there. And normally they'll tell me how many vehicles they pull over, how many citations, how many warnings. I get.
They shouldn't give any warnings.
They've all, but
we
the last
can-
ones I got were all tickets.
We need to ask,
so.
we need to ask them to, no more warnings.
Yeah, they were there
There's-
today
there
by
shouldn't
the
be
next
warnings.
level church.
I know, and it's ridiculous.
Although
I
they're
mean,
handing out
this-
tickets, they're handing, and yeah.
When you sit there and look at it at 35 mile an hour, that is creeping down that road. So you know when somebody's driving fast. When they go by and you can't even identify what the state license plate is, that's going way beyond 35 mile an hour.
What you may want to do, I don't know if it's been a while since they have like a substation commander come in for like a workshop with the board and explain what they're doing. The board can then explain what their concerns are.
I think that's a good idea. Is maybe
I
we
can
ask them
request
to
that.
come in and
Yep.
say, why aren't we taking and slowing the traffic down? You're not doing anything to slow the traffic down. And those machines that we used to have, and I think we thought we bought one that flashed the speed.
They're one-
What happened to them?
One-
I haven't
last-
seen one of those things forever.
Last year when I requested, they were damaged. One was broken and the other one had a flat tire.
It was
so
ours,
they-
right?
Yeah,
Didn't
it's ours. We have
Do we
two.
have it on those anymore, Kenny? Do you know the speed?
Trouble is, they gotta do
No.
it because it's on their right of way.
You're talking about
The electronic split sign, yeah.
They're sitting right out there.
They're not
There's
working.
always issues.
Well, the county has them. My thing is that I haven't seen one out there since they've taken over at all. None.
They had one on the corner there for a little while, but I haven't seen it since.
Okay.
We
All
started
right, well, can you just reach out to Lee County and
Yep,
see
I
if
have
we can
I have a
get,
contact
get their
there, so.
pod supervisor in, and then maybe put up one of the, just some type of deterrent, whether it's one of those units or something else.
Yeah,
And
and it's,
again, I've seen some other boards have had workshop sessions.
Yeah.
So that way it's like half an hour, law enforcement comes in, explains what they're doing, all kinds of other statistics, and then the board can say, here's where we have our concerns.
and I've seen more and more recently, I don't know what is causing it, or I don't understand what their ideas are, but those double yellow lines, once you go past Hidden Links all the way up to your neck of the woods, means you don't cross over. I've seen people passing
Yeah.
up there now.
I've seen it pass
It
up
used
there
to be-
towards Stony Brook before,
Yes,
before you even
that's
get to
what,
the.
that's what I'm talking
Yeah.
about. That's not, first 15, 20 years I was here, that didn't happen. Now all of a sudden you see people in a hurry, and they pass on that double yellow line.
Yeah, and they put some of the dummy units out too, and
Oh, that's a
waste-
scarecrow.
That works for about
That's
20
a-
minutes.
That only gets on the way the landscaping people. That only, yeah, that
That's
does
a
nothing.
waste.
all right,
I
let's
totally
keep
agree.
moving. Laura, what else you got?
That was all I
Yeah.
had.
Okay, great. Kenny, anything?
Can you bring me up?
Yep.
Laura, I actually had one quick question regarding to the damage that we had on the soccer field. I know we have camera on that gate.
Oh,
Was
the
that on
gate-
camera that we can,
No, we don't have a camera for that gate. That gate is fixed too already.
is?
So
Okay.
yeah, they came really quick. They gave us a quote and they was put in within a couple of days. So we'll be able to close those off when we do the paving.
I think it's on there already.
Yep.
I don't bring it up right yet. Okay. Good afternoon, Kenny Hall, Utility Director. It's been a while since I've been able to do a report, so I kind of tried to keep this as short and simple as I can. I don't want to take up too much of your time. This will be next. I briefly wanted to touch on field staff. For some odd reason, we've gotten a flush of applicants for Assistant Utility Manager. I've interviewed 2 people so far. I interviewed a candidate today who was exactly what we were looking for. He has all the experience. He doesn't have a lot of management, but a lot of supervisory field experience. This is the kind of person we are looking for that assistant role. So I have 2 more lined up. We've gone about a month and a half without any applicants, and then all of a sudden I just got a rush of applicants. So I've got 2 more to go. But this one that I interviewed today was exactly what we were looking for. We are currently down 3 positions right now. So with Felix gone, leaving that assistant position vacant, we have been able to hire 2 new people on the field staff who are excellent. And they have hit the ground running. One of them has been here, I think, 3 months now, and he's already on call. Usually it takes about 6 months before we put him on call. He has really applied himself. So we went ahead and threw him on the on-call rotation, and they are working out really well. We still are interviewing for 2 more vacant positions. I'm upwards of 60 applicants. Most of them are fluff. They're just not going to work. but we have got a really good flush of candidates lately. So we should be at full staff here within 2 to 3 weeks on the utility side. And just to give you, for last week, we did 6 corporation repair stops. And what the corporation stop is a very tricky, it's really difficult to get it right. Because what happens is this keeps recurring. This is why I'm bringing it up. We're going to see a lot of this. When you have your seasonal residents, if they're gone through the summer months and the water stops, at the corporation stop, it seems to always get filled up because it's hard water. So you get a lot of tuberculation at that corporation stop down in the ground. And where we're seeing it is on the whip lines, meaning the whip is, the water main is on the other side of the road. It comes under the road, splits, and goes into the residents' houses. And what we're finding is what we found when we were doing the Gateway Greens, that fiber optic installation. These corporation stops are under or in the middle of these people's driveways. So just to get to it, we would have to cut the driveway open, go down, open it up, go down, pull the existing poly tubing out of the corporation stop, and basically ream it to get it broken back up and open that corporation stop up that's down at the main up. And this turns into just an all-day project for a 5-minute job, and they have spiked. We are getting a lot of these, and it's a mixed batch. They're all over the place.
What's the cause though?
Time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we had 2 right over here in Timber Ridge, and that community isn't more than 10 years old, and we're already getting it. And we're gonna see a lot of this in Matarita, come here in about 3 or 4 more years. It seems it hits a certain amount over 2 or 3 years, and then boom. As soon as they come back, they'll turn on the water will rush out, and then it'll just die. There will be no pressure. So either we go in and re-tap the line. On some of them, we're going to have to do that because it's in the middle of the driveway. So this is a reoccurring issue, and we are seeing a lot of this happening. So we're going to be seeing a lot of this, and it turns into a real project to get these repaired. So, and then our staff, we can do this all in-house now. We're working to get everything that we possibly can in-house. So this is another one that we are really starting to see a lot of. And critical inventory planning. Can you throw it up?
Yep.
What I wanted to show you here.
Before you leave that, Ken, just a question. When you have to go into somebody's driveway to tap in,
Yes.
when the repair is fixed, if it ever had to be done again, is there a different location to do this tapping, or do we keep going back?
No, if it's under the driveway and the only alternative we have is to just rip the driveway out. What we'll do, we'll have to go down and we'll turn it off, and then we'll move to the side of the driveway and re-tap it and off to the side. So if we have to go back in there, it's not in the middle of the driveway.
That's what I was.
You're
Right.
almost of the opinion, you roll the dice and just say to hell with the one you got and just go off to the side and put in a brand new one and be done with it.
Right, it's much easier
But then
that way.
if it breaks, you got a problem.
Right. So on the critical inventory, I wanted to I'll show you 2 of them, but this one right here, the first one, these are our oddballs. We have an 18-inch water main coming out of the plant. It's an 18-inch line, which is just an oddball size. And we are looking at just to repair if we have to do any kind of repairs. And you can see the totals at the bottom for a 18-inch, a 20-inch, and a 24-inch for repairs, whether we use a high max solid sleeve, whatever. We're looking at $31,000 to have this in stock right now. And if I say with the supply issue the way it is, if I order it today, we're lucky to get it 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 10 weeks. It's a mixed batch. This is just for our oddballs. This is 20 inches we have a 20-inch line running from Soccer Drive to Griffin Drive. And it is a 20-inch ductile iron pipe. So to repair it, if we to do any kind of repair work to it, you can see the pricing on it for these. We addressed this with the new roundabout at that 20-inch, but coming this way, we're going to have to insert a valve into this line if we have to shut it down. Currently, we have 2 hydrants on there that we cannot isolate. So if those hydrants start to leak, we're shutting that main down. And there's no way of getting around that. So we are working on this, But just a look at this, the 24-inch water main that runs down Soccer Drive, and all the repair parts that go along with that. Hopefully, we never need them. Hopefully, they just sit there and collect cobwebs. But if we need it, this is the cost. Next one, you can see my chicken scratch at the bottom, but this is just for all of our sizes, 4-inch to 16-inch for 45 degrees. If you need 145, you need 2. We need 4. So, and if you look down at the 90 degree on my writing, you see a PW and a WW. That's potable water and wastewater. Wastewater piping for ductile iron is separate. It has to be lined with a concrete liner. So in an emergency, you can, but you do not want to. It has to be ordered separately. So with our force main system, we go from 4, 6, 8, 10 to 12. And now we go up to 16-inch. So everything you see here is for potable water, and it would be the same. Actually, it costs about $300 to $400 for each sewer component of this. So times 2 of what you're seeing here. And then all the stuff in between there, we are going to need. I'm going ahead and move forward with the 45s. We use 45 for deflections. We've done it 3 times in the last year. The last time being the 12-inch water main running down Griffin Drive, when we did the underground bore for the 16-inch force main. There was a conflict there, so we deflected up. And we did it twice at the roundabout up here, and I'm guessing we're going to do it 2 or 3 more times up at the new roundabout. And these are my Saturday worst case scenarios where we get a call at 8 o'clock on Saturday night, and we have to do a major repair, and we have to deflect it, which is a 50-50 shot depending on what the situation is. So just to give you an idea of what it's going to cost us to keep this inventory in stock.
You're just talking about building up an inventory for those places we have vulnerability.
Most vulnerable places,
Equipment
yes.
that if we have a break, we're either out of business or people
Yes.
don't get
Well,
any.
and the added complexity is the issues with supply chain and logistics. Right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's horrible.
So if you don't have an inventory, it's not like you can get something rushed.
Total water, sewer, irrigation.
About 330,000 is my
Each one
number.
of them?
No, total,
100,
for all of
100,
them. Yeah,
ballpark.
about that, yeah.
Where would that money come from?
Through the 400, we'd have to budget for it. We've budgeted, we have
Have we got it in the budget
98,000.
to buy this equipment?
Yes, we have for the first round of it. I can do my the real critical stuff, but
You're waiting for what?
the money to do it.
If we got the money to do it, I thought we just said we had the money to do it.
Well, we have about $100,000 sitting in our inventory account right now.
Which will cover.
Yeah, we'll cover
One-third.
portion of it, yeah.
So do we have to wait till we budget, or can we transfer to?
We can, I mean, that is the board's, at the board's discretion, we can do that.
What?
Again, we're gonna run into, where am I gonna put it and how, I'm just gonna have to deal with it. And
Store it.
where I'm gonna store it, and I can make this work, to get us through, but it's gonna be if you go out there now where just the valves are that we have, it takes up that whole entire area there. I can make it work, I mean, we can make it work, but it's going to be a bumper gallery out there to get all these components in.
People aren't gonna be happy if the line breaks for whatever reason, and they don't get water.
Well, let's say, this utility's been in operation for, I don't know, 30 years now, and they've never had any of this. It was, the reason I'm really pushing it is because, well, before COVID, all of this stuff was, right down the road. You don't, but with the supply chain issues.
Yes, that's the issue.
That is the issue. That is what is really driving me.
I would suggest that we transfer the money from whatever accounts that you would suggest we transfer them from and get this inventory taken care of. We can't be caught
Well,
with nothing.
On the brake side, we're covered. I've got everything we need for brakes, emergency repairs, anything like that, we've got covered. So it's for deflections is what really got me, or the Ys. Luckily, with the force main project, Tetra Tech really came through and got a 12-inch Y from City of Sanibel. They really, had we not had that, we'd have had to make some really tough choices to do that. So luckily, Tetra did that for us. So that's on the inventory side. I want to jump right into the sewer side.
Okay, one other comment before we leave inventory.
Yes, sir.
Because the supply chain problems right now, although they may be another 18 months, 2 years, it is a short-term problem. It is not a long-term.
I would hope
And I
not.
guess I have some reservations about us building a huge inventory of parts that for 30 years we really haven't needed. And when we need them, we rally around neighboring communities to get it. So I just throw that out as a caution. I just don't want to blanketly spend money, and then we're going to need a building to put all this stuff in. Because we will get back to just in inventory, just-in-time inventory as a country. So I just use a little caution there when we're buying everything.
Well,
Absolutely.
let me ask you this, but when we don't have it and we have to hire an outside vendor, we pay almost
Twice as much.
Twice as much.
Yeah, well, it
But you
can be
just said
very,
We're
And they may
covered
not
for
even have-
critical.
critical stuff we got.
Critical
Yeah.
stuff we're covered.
We
So I
haven't
think
had
of some
30 years.
redundancies that
Yes.
we were looking
And-
at.
and-
so.
It's such a supply issue problem that if we get into a situation where we need something, we are going to be in some serious trouble.
Absolutely.
And in regards to the 30 years we didn't need it, well, then most likely you're gonna need it now. So that, to me, you can look at it both ways. Let's not get it because we didn't need it for 30 years. Well, the life expectancy of some of those stuff, it's now, that it's within the next 10 years to break,
But
so.
Flavia, my part of them
Yeah.
are not going to need it. I say the supply chain issue is a short-term problem.
Yeah.
We will replenish the supply chain. as a
Eventually.
country.
Eventually, yes.
Eventually.
Hopefully.
And then it was,
hopefully.
like you
That
said, just
COVID was
down the
only a
road.
year. We're going on 3. So, yeah.
And there's a huge, let me throw that out there. There's a huge saving when we buy it versus when we hire a vendor or a contractor.
that. That's a lot
You know,
cheaper for us.
it's a huge savings for us to have it on, and then on hand.
Well, I'll say if Kenny needs something, he's gonna bring to the board, and then we make a decision on if we have funding, if not, if we need
Yep.
to get it, what's the priority? We can talk
Totally
through it.
agree.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, sanitary sewer. So what this basically is this is the master station at Stony Brook. This is Station 11, and what I really wanted to point out to you is the gap in the middle. So when I go, you see that part right there? That is 11, 12, I think it's 11:30 to 4 a.m. So what you see there is that gap, meaning everybody's in bed, nobody's using the water really. The station will come on here and there, but nothing like what it is. So almost every station in our system, you will see this gap. And that's what that represents at nighttime, you get a gap. Nothing's flowing through there. Okay.
If you don't have infiltration and flow.
Right. Station B9, this is Station 2 right down here in front of Silver Lakes. We had a big break on this one. What it turned out to be was a 19-foot manhole that had a 11-foot, 11-foot mark, had a core bore into it that was sealed. That broke away. It broke out, water just started pouring into it, and this is what you see, straight across. You can stand out there at 11 in the morning, 2 in the afternoon, 4 in the morning, it's the same flow every single time. So we knew we have a problem here. So once we made that repair, boom, you see the dramatic difference in what happens. It starts to gap
Did
out.
we get an alarm? How did you get
But-
notified?
Well, no, we don't get an alarm because the station's running. I
Only
highlight,
if it goes up above a mark in the station.
yeah, if you'll get an alarm if the pumps can't keep up or with our pumps can keep
But
up
how
with
did you
it.
know that?
Because there's no break.
He checks it, I usually check this daily, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
So
that's what
you're
I mean.
monitoring it and you notice.
Right.
Yeah.
We see this
and you
right here,
regularly-
we got a problem.
Yeah, okay.
So what I really wanted to point out was if you look down to the highlights at those hours, at the bottom, we have, I think that's 86 starts and
Yep.
stops, and then it goes to 7 hours total runtime. We seal the hole, and then we have it. So once we got it, we got it. Callaway Greens, we had this sewer line, because we know we have an active break on here. And let me show you, this is the lift station, this is Ritchie Station, Station 21 in Gateway Greens. You'll notice there's no breaks in this line. It just goes straight across. Go out there at 2 o'clock in the morning, go out there at 2 in the afternoon, it's the same flow coming in. We cambered it yesterday with Sewer Viewer. They came in with their video, high-intensity video that has 360-degree rotation. It can turn up. Ours will just go straight through. You can see it, but you can't see what's really going on. You can't focus the camera. We brought them in yesterday. I have not seen the video yet, but as it was instructed or told to me, we have 3 breaks on this line. 3. 2 big ones, 1 weeping leak, meaning it's just dripping.
It's in Callaway Greens.
This is on Callaway Greens, right where we were at. And they believe there's a 4th one that's going to break. The breaks from what we've seen are on the laterals, meaning they're coming out into the main sanitary sewer. That's where the break is. 2 of them. So we're gonna try to formulate a plan once we get the video with our contractor and try to figure out how exactly we wanna tackle this. This lift station, again, as you see, there's no brakes. It just runs straight through. The station can handle it. We've had to shut our system down 2 times this year, for over 10 hours. We had no overflows. But again, we're paying to treat stormwater. We're paying to treat sewage, not stormwater. So we really need to get this squared away on this line. So I will bring this back to you when we come up with a plan. It's going to be expensive. I've got a contractor coming in from Miami next week to look at slip lining it, just putting a new liner inside that pipe, and we don't have to open up the road, we don't have to take out the curbing.
Service lateral, though.
It'll be on, yeah. They seem to think they can do it. But we shall see. If not, we're opening this road up. We're gonna be opening up people's driveways. It's gonna be a disaster to get this repaired, but we have to get this repaired. And then again, we've got another one here. This is Station 26. We don't know where this one is. And I do not want to spend $4,000 to have the video camera, sewer viewer come out here to find it. We have gone out and looked at every manhole in our system so far for the Station 26 sanitary sewer basin, and we are yet to find the break. We believe it might be on that stretch right across the new roundabout, somewhere in there. We can't determine until we get a camera actually in there, so we're gonna try to break this out, but again, no breaks, none whatsoever.
You don't see a differentiation in the flow from manhole to manhole?
No,
It's just solid?
well, not even that. Let me give you a background on this. When we noticed this was a real issue was COVID. COVID hit, everything locked down, and Gartner is gone, the schools are gone, and we still have the same amount of flow. We would expect to have seen with Gartner, especially Gartner out, there's nobody there, the flows would come down, but as you can see, they have not. So that's what really got us going on this one. This is a 30 horsepower station, this is a high flow station, but again, with no Gartner, we should have a reduction in time.
That sewer's in the road.
Yeah.
Well, how much historical data do we have? Can you look back and see when we didn't have this? Was it prior to the roundabout, or we just?
Oh, it was prior, it would have to have been prior to
So-
the roundabout.
okay.
Yeah.
So you're saying, can we go back historically and see were we ever running?
Exactly, was this like
under
this
the-
for the last 5 years and?
Yes,
Or was it?
when Gartner's
roundabout?
there and they're at work and they're all, this is the kind of flow you would expect.
You know, yeah.
But when Gartner's gone and then the flow doesn't stop, we realized, so we went out and looked around, but when you have a sanitary sewer break, you can open the manhole like we do on Galloway Greens and you can see there's a river rolling through there. Gravity sewer is real slow.
You
It
can pretty
doesn't,
well tell that if you get in past midnight, when there's typically no sanitary usage, especially in a commercial area where there are no
right.
people working, it's infiltration inflow.
We just have not been able to figure out where exactly it's at. So we're pretty sure it's between the master manhole and the lift station, right in there. And if that's bad, but that's good for us because we can slip line it. We don't have to open that up, and that's sitting at 18 feet. So that's where we are with these sanitary sewer breaks. I've made this pretty much a priority for me. I've been spending a lot of time trying to sort this out. Once I get this video from Sewer Viewer, we're gonna sit down with our contractors and come up with a plan on how we're gonna do this, how we will get this. Ideally, we need to get it done before it starts raining. So once it starts raining at 9 feet, 8 feet where these laterals are, it's gonna be a real trick to get in there and try to clean it out.
Has anybody done any construction in this area in the last couple of years?
No.
That's what I was trying to figure out.
No.
So the camera that we have, we do have the ability to take it down, it's just not as detailed as the
Doesn't
one.
Right, right. It doesn't, it's
Is it worth
straight.
it for us to go in, like as a very general, and try to figure out the location? Because I know you don't want to spend the $4,000 to do the one that we actually need, but can you do it? Can you send the equipment that we have and figure it out what the break is?
We were gonna try that, but again, even if we can find where the leak is.
You gotta stop the flow.
Right. But this one, and these pumps in here are 30 horsepower, so these pumps they can start and stop 130 times an hour. They can handle the flow, it's just, again, we're paying Lee County to treat sewage, not stormwater. And it's a lot of stormwater, that we need, but this is second. The Callaway Green one has to be addressed first, in my opinion. because it's just 3 active brakes is just, nothing good
To
is
tie
good.
in where Flavia was going, what would be the cost for us to upgrade the camera to get the one you want?
Oh, what we looked at for our needs, for our system is $110,000 for the entire, that means the entire rig that we were looking at would fit in the back of one of our Tundras with a cover, and we could just pull
So
it.
what we have currently, the one directional, non-articulated, nothing like that can be used?
No, not for high-end where I'm gonna invest or spend $50,000 for a repair. If I'm gonna spend that kind of money for repair, we need a 360-degree, high-intensity camera to go in there and,
Well, I'm not arguing that, I'm just saying, can't that be adapted to what we
no,
have?
no,
Okay.
no. It's on a 6-wheeled crawler,
What's ours on?
on a line, a fiber optic line that we can just literally push through. It's a lateral camera. It's for doing the laterals and not the main sanitary sewer.
We can't justify buying this.
Okay.
Yeah, I say it's $110,000 for us to do this. Now, if we would keep a sanitary sewer program intact with that machine, then it'll pay off over, a 10-year time, because you're not spending this kind of money bringing in sewer viewer.
Okay.
And there again, to get sewer viewer, you're a month or 2 out.
Well, I think I heard like we can call sewer viewer about 40 times, or
Yeah.
50 times before it makes sense to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. What else you got, Kenny? Is that it?
Yeah, that was pretty much, the new bypass pumps that we have purchased in September are here. We are looking to set up, lift station 7, I believe is due to start, either the last week of March or the first week of April. So once we get the pump in, we'll get the fence in, and we'll be done with that. And, again, on that point, myself and the former district manager's main goal was to get 4 bypass pumps, 3, and then to phase out the existing generators. We could keep them in-house, and we will take care of the maintenance. They are older, they are a maintenance nightmare at times. To give you an example, we had 4 active generators at the beginning when Irma hit, and by the time Irma was over, we had 1. They were not maintained, they just sat there, nobody really knew how to operate them, put them under load for years and years and years and years. So as they get older, the maintenance is just going up and up and up and up and up. We've got 4 brand-new mobile bypass pumps that are superior in every way to those generators. So our plan was to, as we brought the new bypass pumps in, to take the generators out. Maybe keep 2 of them, that was our plan. That would be on our operation, or our emergency operations plan. And that was it for me.
One thing.
Go ahead, Ed.
I've told this to Kenny, and at Gateway Greens, we've had a couple of interesting issues in the last 30 days.
Yes, we have.
And the crew, Isaac and the crew, it's unbelievable what those guys run into getting over there. You're in the blind.
Yes,
When you've
we
got
are.
water coming up out of the ground, you don't know what it is. And I'm sitting there, I've done this for a long, long, long time. Our crews are good. They are very, very
And
good.
they're getting
They
better
get
by
in
the
there
day.
And they get that work done. And I mean, it's under some conditions that are pretty nasty, especially when you're sitting there dealing with a 24,000-volt electrical line. You just don't take a backhoe in and start digging. So you're doing it hand digging. You just don't know what you're going to run into. And our as-builts, like Danny titled a
As
long
found.
time ago, or as found, you don't know whose line it is. We just don't have the information, but our crews do one heck of a job in getting these things fixed.
Yes,
Well,
they
and
do.
it is nice, Ed, for you to make that type of recommendation, because it is good for the staff to hear. And I would, echo that back to the team. Then the board meeting was brought up. What a great job, being observed and them executing. So
Absolutely.
that's fantastic.
Thank you.
It never happens at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. 4:30 Friday afternoon, we're 2 for 2.
Yep.
It's
Or
just,
Sunday.
We were just talking
Or
about that
Sunday.
yesterday.
Yep.
I did miss
Okay.
one thing in my update.
Go ahead.
I was at the PPAC meeting last month, and they want to move ahead doing the asphalt mill and pave on, I'm gonna say it wrong, is it Avila? Avila. They got 2 bids, one from Atlantic Southern, one from Bonas. I did have Scott look over it, because I don't understand all the terminology for the blacktop stuff. And the recommendation from PPAC, and I sent you guys an email with all the stuff in it,
Saw it.
was to, the bid from Bonas was $83,000, and Scott added in the permit estimated cost of $510. So there was $83,568.80. For Atlantic Southern, it was $96,756. So staff supports the recommendation of PPAC to move forward and award the job to Bonas. So I just need to.
I'll make a recommendation.
I'll second that.
So I have a motion, second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay, great. Thanks, Laura, for bringing that up. Scott, do you want to hop up?
Scott Connell, interim project manager. In your packet is a note that was drafted up on January 24th on all the different projects that I'm involved in. And Laura's reported, on Lake 93. I'll just go over the updates. She said we're having a final walkthrough next Monday to close that out. If we go down to the GIS within Gateway, we had a meeting earlier this week with Passarella and Austin and myself. And Austin did a very thorough, comprehensive research on what information is available to share with them so we don't duplicate efforts. And then they got into their language on polygons and outer space, all that shapefile, pardon me. Anyway, we ended up going over all that list, and Austin prepared, and Pastorella is going back and going to rewrite their proposal for the first year on the base information. So we should hear something hopefully within the next couple days.
Good.
So that was very, very productive. So I thank Austin for all that effort. Let's see, the other critical things. I want to touch on the Sherman Soccer Complex and all the repaving. We're set up for the week of February 21st. And we have that all ironed out. We've got it's been posted on their website. Laura and Georgia put that together.
Facebook page.
Facebook, pardon me. And so we're all coordinated. I've reached out to the elementary school a week ago. I still haven't heard back about utilizing their parking one of those evenings, probably Wednesday evening. I've reached out to them twice. I haven't heard anything.
Yeah, I mean,
back
we have a pre-existing relationship with the elementary school. I have keys to the gate if we need to open them up, and all the leagues also have access, so we shouldn't be any problem. And matter of fact, I think some of the leagues have already communicated that that they'll need to park over on the other side. So I don't think there's a whole lot of follow-up you need on your side. I think it's.
All right, I've reached out twice to the principal and the vice principal.
I would just have, Laura, just have Georgia, just send a reminder to all the leagues of those.
We did.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Or she did, I should say.
And
I asked her to
I know
do
she
that.
sent something previously
Yep.
because they've already been communicating
Yep.
out.
Yeah.
And I've sent a notice to the plant operator next door for the county, and I'm gonna go see OAK tomorrow because they have their facility on the end there. So I think we're in pretty good shape there. Our concrete repairs have been done last week, so we'll have 21 days of cure time on our little bit of concrete for the sidewalk tie-in. Everything else, on the access weir over there in Casella, the very last item. We sent the information, or Tetra Tech did, to Lennar, and they came back. They had it staked, and they had been out and looked at it, and we got information yesterday from them and highlighting an area, and they acknowledged that they agree it's not built correctly on the access pathway through there. So that's positive. The other question I talked about was the berm between this access way and up against the building where it could trap water into the patios and the front door of the unit on building 33. So I sent that back to Tetra Tech in my comments, and he's going to forward it back to Lennar, and we'll get that straight.
Could be a repeat of
Can't.
building Pond 38.
Oh, no, this is much worse.
Oh, it's worse?
This is worse.
Oh, God.
The 4-to-1 is more like, stepping off an 8-foot cliff.
Well, it is
There's
on
no
one side,
room.
yeah,
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 there's
yeah.
just
I
no
walked
room
it.
I mean,
to
it
get
can be
access.
fixed.
I walked it with Al and
Yeah.
Wyatt on.
So,
Gonna have to regrade it.
I'm encouraged to hear that they acknowledge it, because if they didn't.
Yeah, they
With
said,
those stakes in there, there's
the
no
stuff
way
in the
they can-
green, we have to redo? Yes.
Yeah, there's gonna be quite a bit of work for that.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Assuming the building's not gonna change, they're gonna have to lengthen the access.
There's-
Right, they have to rebuild the slope, that's
Yep.
all. Yep. Other than that, are there any other questions or anything?
Scott, have you had a chance to get to Lee County Utilities on those irrigation readings and pump readings coming out of their wastewater treatment plant for the last year?
I thought,
We need the data.
I thought Kenny had provided those.
I haven't gotten anything. We're
Okay.
missing some data.
All right, I had gotten together with Austin, we came up with the data, and I passed it on to them, and we'll communicate.
Okay.
Okay, sure.
Scott, I have just one question in regards to the parking lot. I was there today with Jim, and there's one area that I guess the trees were removed. It's like a flower bed. It's near the actual building. Are we gonna cover that and make an additional parking spot? I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. Or we're gonna just go ahead and plant another tree there? Because it's just dirt on the parking
We're
lot.
only redoing the paving that's paving today over
Okay.
the existing. We're not addressing any of the landscaping, plantings.
Because it looks like it's road right now because it's all the same color. But when I was actually walking, I'm like, oh, okay, this is actually dirt. It's
And the
not.
east lot? Mm-hmm. Over by the concession stand? Mm-hmm.
Right, you know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about?
I know
Al?
where you're talking about.
Yeah, it's a large area, so.
Yeah, no, it's not gonna be, because there's no, lime rock base.
Oh, yeah, I
It hasn't
know.
been built for a
Yeah.
parking stall, and you can only have like 10 stalls in a row, then you have to have it broken up by a planter bed, or 10 or 12, I forget the
Yeah,
number.
So I guess maybe.
So
the
we're not
goal is-
changing-
Maybe the goal be to add a tree there.
It needs to be
Yeah.
planted, but not under this agreement.
Yeah, no, okay. And then the second question is, and I'm gonna look for L. What was the goal, what we had? Was it mulch in between, in between the parking spots, or was it sod? Do you know what it is?
It was always sod.
Okay,
It was sodded. And that tree was taken out. Do you want me to come up here?
Yeah, please. Yep.
L. Harris, Gateway Services, Stormwater. That tree was removed because it was lifting that sidewalk up there really bad. We had a
Imagine that.
terrible trip hazard back there. So, yeah, we could replace it with something. I wouldn't recommend putting an oak tree back in there, which is what we had to take out.
I would just put sod on it.
But-
Leave it alone.
yeah. Either by
You know,
hazel or just
it
put
can,
some
they can
tofu
dig it
blocks.
out and put in some decent soil and plant some sod or something in there,
I'd
for
say
sure.
put sod over it. Just put some
Right.
sod down.
Okay.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Scott, I appreciate it. Moving on to action items.
One other thing, Mr. Chairman, just briefly, I think Laura emailed you and then handed out the fountain to the roundabout.
All right.
Oh,
That's gonna be a February 17th.
February
agenda item.
17th, yes. There's
just-
someone from the county, and I spoke with someone from Cardinal this afternoon. They're going to be bringing a PowerPoint presentation for that meeting, so you'll be able to ask questions, and I'll be able to give a lot more information.
One thing before they come, and they got plenty of time to do it, would they go out into the field, try to determine where that manhole is that's in the middle of that intersection and where it shows up on this drawing?
It is on there.
It's on there?
Yep,
Yeah,
it's
it's
on
on
all
there.
4 drawings. I spoke with them specifically about that today when you
Upper
called me.
left arrow.
Each one's a little
Okay.
different, but it's called out. There's 2 of them where it's underneath a pedestal
Where are
and
you?
2 where it's a little outside the design.
Oh, manhole. So like turn the
Yeah,
page.
so I guess the question is, how's that going to be
It says
addressed?
manhole outside of
So this is the Cecil.
It's outside, it's just outside the
So
fountain.
yeah, 2
okay.
of the designs it's outside of it, and 2 of the designs it's like under a
Well, they were
pedestal
told
or
about it, so I
something.
was just
Yep,
hoping
they
they
addressed
covered it.
it. I made
Oh,
sure
okay,
when I
so
talked
that's
to them.
probably why I was questioning some of these designs.
Yes.
And I think the design is,
They tried to be very conscientious of how they designed them so that we would still be able to access that, the manhole
Pendergrass
cover.
tinkle fountain.
Is that with or without a plaque?
Heard of just a little bit of hot air coming this way.
okay, so action items. We have 4A, approval of new PPAC member. Carol, what is it?
Packers, you got-
What is it?
Call.
Hancock.
Pencall, okay.
And there is an E on the end of Carroll, by the way, but that doesn't mean anything.
So do they want
I'll write it in. Cool. Do I have a,
I make a motion that we approve or accept PPAC's recommendation that Carol be the newest member of PPAC.
Carol with an E.
I got that, yep,
And-
Carol with an E.
and Bill is second, any additional discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Welcome. 4B, First Horizon line of credit.
Oh, this is actually just the line of credit agreement. Okay, I have a very large stack of papers. Gary has already signed his portion of them, and Doug signed his portion, so I need one signature from you, Mr. Tinkle, and a bunch from Flavia, so. There's, one of one of the sheets, the one that I need Mr. Tinkle and the one I need Mr. Tinkle to sign is to set up a new account, the one where they're gonna put the funds in, so that's the one that I need your signature on. Then in the stack of papers that I have, there is, Tony can help me out with these. The Florida Administrative Code Rule 42F, which establishes the district, just shows that,
Yeah, these are all the closing documents?
these are all the closing documents, yes.
So the
And
only.
I guess the one that might be most important from the district's perspective now is the initial draw will be the $50,001.
Yes.
And that's paying for the cost of issuance, which is my fee, my opinion, is $10,000. The bond counsel's fee is how much?
8,800, was it? No, I'll find it.
Lord.
It's $7,300 for the
Yeah.
bank's fee.
And then 2,200 for something else for theirs, was it? I shut my computer, give me a second.
I think bond counsel's was higher than that.
It is, let me pull it
And
up.
what is that, what's the action we need to take here? Is it just?
No, this is informational.
It's just
Okay.
letting you know what's all been
Okay,
signed.
so there's no action for 4B.
No.
Percent. And then there's also.
And somewhere
a-
deep in that packet of information, I found an interest rate of 2.3%.
That's
It's way
correct.
back
Yep.
at the back.
That's the only thing I really looked for.
I understood, that's most.
It was
Yeah.
way back at the back.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and-
way in the back.
And what was also provided in one, I think Laura provided it, was an amortization schedule assuming a complete $7.3 million drawdown.
Yeah.
But that's, again, that's.
By
based upon-
2026.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that, one thing, we just wanted the board to be aware of it and have all the information that they wanted. The closing is scheduled to take place on the 8th, February 8th.
Okay, and then,
Looked like all the other boring ones I read like that. so.
Yes, sir.
and then we have 4C, we have salary adjustment for utilities director. We aligned budget in this last time for targeted increases. So this is,
It's a tie-in along with the market increase as well as his annual review. So other utility directors in similar size utilities are making between 95 to 105,000. So I want to make sure that we bring him up to market rate because Kenny is a very valuable asset and we do not want to lose him. There is,
so just to be clear, this is a combination of market / inflation / merit.
yes,
Can you tell us what is the merit?
everybody, would be 4% of that would be merit.
Okay.
Is there one of those things you indicated valuable deal? Is there one of those things that you do in the NFL and the Major League Baseball? What do you put on the guy that he's a protected?
An MVP?
franchise-
Oh, yeah, franchise, yeah.
Franchise player.
Franchise tag.
Franchise
So
tag.
can I have a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion, but
I'll
I have a
second.
question.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Discussion?
Yeah. I tried to figure this out. What is this?
We'll go through that.
Okay.
That was something that I have been trying to work on, and it's something that Gary did with our input. It basically, in a nutshell, what it does, we also have one for the hourly employees. Each position has a range on the chart, so you can
Okay.
see when you get hired, this
That's
is
what
where
I
you start
thought.
and this
I
is
was
how you
looking
work
at.
your way through.
So it's
So
basically,
it
it's
gives
our-
you your salary
it's our
range
upper
and
and lower and our
increments.
midpoint.
Yep.
It's all ranged. Okay, this is
Yep.
great. This is really nice to have.
Okay.
Okay. So all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No? Okay.
Are
Great.
any other employees that need to be have that adjusted?
Not yet.
Not
We're
yet?
working our way through them right now.
Are you
And
doing
that
it
I will
as
bring
a-
them forward.
That's
Yep.
what I figured. We'll do it all at once.
Yep.
Yeah.
As we
So that's
do.
the reason why these will come not in one lump, because it's based on their
Okay.
annual.
It goes by their hire date.
anniversary
Okay.
Yeah.
you do it all
So
at
they'll
once.
come in ad hoc
Okay.
as it comes through.
Some of the adjustments we made were not large, but they were very small bumps to get people up to where they needed to be, so I didn't bring those in front of you because it
So you have A through G
That's the range.
incremental units per range.
Yeah, that's basically the range that gives you the low and the high for that
Gotcha,
salad, for that
gotcha.
position.
Okay, we have 4D. Yeah. Okay.
They've been waiting patiently.
They
The
have.
baby's been great, by the way.
I know the baby has been
She-
wonderful.
She's awesome. Okay, at L. Harris Gateway Services Stormwater Specialist, at the last meeting, you asked for some aerials indicating where this fence, the other fences that are existing along this conservation easement or conservation maintenance easement. That picture right there is actually in one of our conservation areas. I took it last year when the herons were nesting.
That's awesome.
I thought it was
I
great.
bet you have a bunch of really good pictures.
Well, some pretty good ones, yes. But if you scroll on down, please, Laura. The picture on the left is next door to the requested fence, next door to the south. And then the other one, you see that hedge right there, that's right up against all of that is in the easement.
Like a straight line view?
All of, yeah, all of
Now,
that's, all of that
is
is
the
in the
hedge
easement.
and that fence parallel?
Yes.
Okay.
That hedge backs up to the chain link fence, so that right there is in the easement already.
That chain link fence is
Behind that
on the
hedge.
far back side of
Of
their
the-
property against the.
The one on the left there,
Yes.
yes. That fence runs along the conservation easement.
So they're
Not the
basi-
maintenance easement, the conservation
so
easement.
they're basically asking for a fence like this to be extended across their property on the
No,
same
they
line?
are asking, if you can scroll on down a little bit, Laura. You see the white vinyl fence saying, we're looking at the lawn right there, that bush right there, that shrub is in the Green's backyard. That fence that you see is 2 doors down from you. That one right there is already in the conservation easement. See the little gap between the white vinyl fence and the chain link fence?
What is that?
That's basically what Mr. and Mrs. Green are asking us to allow
What-
them to do.
have a question.
What's the difference between the fence, the chain link fence, and the resident existing fences?
The chain link fence, we are responsible for the maintenance and
No, what's the
upkeep.
difference? What's the
Yes,
difference
but
distance in
how wide is
between?
it?
Oh, they're asking,
No, no,
No,
no,
no.
no.
So if you look at
Between
this
the chain
picture
link and the
between
white.
the existing
oh, there's about 4.5, about 4 feet between that one down there.
4 feet. So that's what we have under current conditions
To
to
take a
do
vehicle
any
down.
type of.
We have
Oh,
previously
it gets a lot narrower than that. If you can roll on down and let them see the other pictures where the fence is. See how close, that's the same fence down that we were just
So-
looking
So
at.
don't those people just simply have a responsibility that if we have to get in there, they have to remove the fence? And it's that
Yes,
simple?
pretty much.
Or we
we have
remove
to
it for them.
Technically, that
We
fence
remove
right,
the fence and they have to put it back, either way.
technically, that fence right there was not permitted. If you roll on down, Laura, we can look and we can see the aerial. The highlighted property is Mr. and Mrs. Green. You see the one that I was showing, well, the one was permitted in 2003, the one at the further end, there was no
Is
permit
that the one with the
pulled.
white fence?
No,
Where's the one with the white fence that's about 4 feet away?
this one.
The one that was permitted in
So it gets- It
2003.
gets narrower too as it goes through.
Okay.
And-
so-
Because that fence is probably not, they probably did it on a perpendicular, and that fence is probably not lined up.
And they're wanting theirs essentially 4 feet off the back also?
I think that they were asking about 5 feet off.
I
Well,
guess,
I need
for
a
clarification,
survey.
I think, Flavia, I think last time what we requested was to avoid any confusion, is to depict on the survey the nature, size, extent, location, and materials of the proposed fence.
don't have that.
'Cause I assume that what they want is that they want it perpendicular to the existing chain link fence.
Correct.
So it would
Perpendicular or
approach,
parallel?
no, perpendicular. So it would come into the CME,
In parallel.
that's your,
In parallel.
And parallel.
in
Yeah,
parallel.
it's perpendicular at the property lines, it's parallel along the back.
What I,
But
so
we don't
I-
have the measurements for it because they
think-
didn't provide that.
Yeah, I think I think we could probably make some type
This-
of decision.
this
I mean,
isn't that
I think
difficult.
5 feet is probably reasonable.
Yeah.
But, and we'll have to send a letter to the existing people that have done it, who is slightly less than 5 feet, that if we need to get back there, it's gonna be at the resident's cost. So if we have to go in for an emergency and we've got to remove fencing, it'll be at the residence.
We have a 20-foot easement.
Well, it's
the
residents'
residents'
responsibility to replace it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So, and I would just say, the reason I would say 4 feet today is because it would give us a little bit more reasonable, I mean, you're talking about a foot. I mean, if, it's probably 4 to 3 existing. If you guys are happy with 5,
Well, it's a 20-foot easement, so we would lose 15 feet of it.
That's what I was gonna say, it's not, it's 5 from the fence, but that's what I was gonna bring it up.
Yeah.
So they're actually asking for 15, not 5.
Yes, they're asking to encroach
I'm
15.
saying 5 from the fence.
Well, that's
But-
15, that's 15 from the
Yeah,
other
they're
side.
asking
No, I
for a-
understand.
yeah, okay.
I think that, again, that's what's important about taking this survey.
And doing what we
and
agree.
to scale, showing, and defense contractors can do this easy. I've had this done many, many times for other districts, indicating on there the extent, including the linear extent of it, and the location and the material of the proposed fence. Because that's how, if the board's going to approve the encroachment non-disturbance agreement, that would be attached as an exhibit.
And then this meeting is not, we're gonna continue until Tuesday, so if
Correct.
they can get it from today and provide it by Tuesday, then we can.
What is the material you're proposing to do? A white fence?
The HOA is white PVC, 5 feet, which everybody has to
Yeah,
have that.
okay.
The issue with the fence company is that they want a 50% deposit before they do anything. So that's why we're here, because we're not gonna pay them, $4,500 and for what, and we can't get it back, because I asked.
Well, I would have no problem of
May
making
I
the
throw
approval
something in here?
subject to the receipt of this document.
Yeah,
So that they
and-
know, the fence company then knows that the deal is a done deal.
Yeah, and if you recall, the board has approved a number of these encroachments
Yes.
in the past, and all of them have sketches. And in the description of the material, because it's important, because what we need to, from my guidance to the board is that the board needs
Yeah, I
to be
need to tell
specific
them
as to what is,
something, but.
as to what is approved.
I was gonna say, keep.
Excuse me, may I please throw something out here? Mr. and Mrs. Green are quite aware that they will need to provide us a survey detailing the easement lines, lot lines, and how much an encroachment they will make. They wanted to come here and speak with you because they don't want to put a lot of money into it if
If we're
there's
gonna
no
deny it.
chance
If we're
that it's
gonna
gonna happen. Now, a survey of what we're asking, you don't have to pay your fence company $4,500 for
Yeah.
that. Call any surveying company in the county, and they can come out and do a survey for you and put your improvements and easements and lot lines and numbers in there for you. That's not gonna cost you $4,500. It should never cost that much.
oh.
But we will need the survey.
Okay, now,
Go ahead, Tony.
I'm trying to make it simple without overcomplicating it.
You have the
You can
survey.
take an existing survey and you can take it to scale, draw on there with the ruler, make it straight. I can't draw a straight line without a ruler, I don't know about anybody else. And indicate the dimensions as far as the encroachment into the easement.
So if you already
the
have,
type
you should
of-
already have a survey of your
the-
property, so just outline, yeah.
And the type of material, and again, we've done this before. I always prefer to have a survey, but for a surveyor to go back out, there's gonna, first of all, lining up a surveyor nowadays, it takes time, and it's gonna cost them more money. So if they can take this and blow this up, basically, I don't need all this on top.
Do you have a scale drawing that you can do that yourself?
Yeah, take,
From
I
the
would
last time.
suggest using this portion of it, because
Yeah, this is
that-
it.
Yeah, well,
And-
that's what Tony and I were trying to
Tony,
say.
this is, like, we
He
have.
has it on
You're
his
right,
end.
but what they can do is take this portion here, make it larger, and we don't need everything on top necessarily. And we can give them examples of the ones that have been approved and recorded, so you can see what's needed. In other words, it'll say, 25-foot long, 5-foot high, white vinyl fence.
Just redraw.
5 feet from here, 10 feet from there. So that, it's protection for both parties, that's all.
And I'm willing to, I mean, in good faith, I think we're willing to approve this.
Yeah.
Subject to
with
staff finalizing it.
Subject to conditions, so you guys feel comfortable with, I mean, 'cause contrary to popular belief, but we want to do what's right for the residents.
Especially since there's a bunch of them already down
We
there.
wanna do what's right for the.
Yeah, no, we appreciate you.
We applaud you
Especially going
doing
through the
it,
process as opposed to just putting it up.
Absolutely.
to doing it first the right way. My only
Absolutely.
question, the only question I have is if we give you exactly what you're hoping to get, the 15 feet, does that extend further than everybody else, or is that just lining up with
We'll
what's there?
actually be further off than
There'll be about,
Can you
We've,
scroll on
in
down
other
and
words,
show
we've
them the
approved
next,
more
the next
aggressive
one?
deals in the past.
that last
but
one?
here, these aren't even approved.
Keep
I
on
know.
going
Then
down.
what we
know
do
it.
with that?
Check the fence out
Well,
that's
we'll
on
send them a
the,
letter and just to let them know.
can
that
you see that very last
they're-
one
they-
that says
they
permitted
do not have
2020?
approval for that, and in the event that we
I
get
mean,
the
I
lights,
think
they're
it's
fine.
almost connected to the fence, so.
Okay, so can I have a motion to approve the, oh, you wanna give me the legal
Well, what I
language?
would suggest is, again, the problem is we don't have anything in writing as to what they want as far as dimensions and characteristics. I mean, that's.
So we'll approve it on, when we, on our
Tuesday.
next meeting, but
We're continuing it to
we're saying
Tuesday. The
in-
board can continue this, and I would suggest that Mr. and Mrs. Green take this and then do a narrative about, again, and take it on your place where they're going to propose it and what the type, the material, the extent, and then do a little narrative and send that to me or to Elle and to Laura, they'll send it to me. And I will prepare the easement agreement, or non-encroachment agreement for next week. And then there's recording costs for the clerk's office, that's $50-some-odd probably.
so we agree in principle, if you're
Yep.
comfortable with that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay,
No,
great.
I'm sorry, because I wanna make sure that I'm clear. So once you approve the easement agreement, that's the letter that we need for the county.
It's not a
That's,
letter.
that's the one you need,
Yeah,
yes.
it's an encroachment and non-disturbance agreement. What it says is, you can build this within this area of our easement. If we ever need you to take it out, you will take it out. If you don't, we'll take it out, you hold us harmless, and you pay us any of our costs.
In English is what the county needs to get their approval.
Yeah.
Oh, very nice. So I just wanna-
Thank you for your time.
Okay, so the 5 feet you have.
Thank
to-
you, Al.
Yeah,
5, that's what we're talking about? or-
5, yeah,
Whatever,
5.
is it 5 feet?
5
yeah.
feet.
We'll see it next Tuesday for sure.
It'll
Or
be
15.
They're gonna get 15 feet.
Oh, no,
15
you don't wanna see us.
Very nice with the kids.
Well, the
Thank
child-
you.
The child's great.
Future voter.
5 feet too big that a commercial mower
It's
can go.
5 feet from the
Commercial was
back
5 feet.
end of
So
the
five-
the
A
wetland.
15-foot
It's
encroachment.
15 feet from their
Yes,
side
it's-
back.
Correct. They're
It's a
gonna gain
15-foot
15 feet
encroachment.
Of usable easement for their fenced yard.
And does the board
Yes.
want letters sent to the other property owners?
Yes.
Saying, be aware of the fact that you're in our easement, you don't have
Yeah.
approval, we can take it out anytime.
Right.
And
You
if
put
we're
up
gonna
a-
do
one, we need to do the
Yeah, that you've put up a structure
In the Amer- if I
without
recall-
approval and,
If I recall, going the Wayback Machine, I think about 5 to 10 years ago, there was a discussion about hedges and irrigation systems and all the other kinds of stuff there. But we're just gonna focus on fences for now?
yes.
Well, we know. We know.
Okay.
Oh, we only know this, Tony.
Okay.
Let's deal with the devil we know right now.
Okay, but
You know what, you know what'll freeze over before we have to get in there to do anything
Yeah.
anyway.
Okay, so let's move forward. Do we have any items to pull for consent agenda? A through D.
No, I didn't have any.
I didn't have any.
Okay, can I have a motion to approve consent
I'll make
agendas
the
item
motion to approve.
A through D? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? President's Council, future business, we've got President's Council on the 24th. That'll be held at the Magnolia Room in Pelican.
Correct.
So Pelican will be providing drinks and hors d'oeuvres during that?
Room.
Oh, just the
Same
room.
ones
Oh,
we got in Stony Brook. Water and water.
That was courtesy of the district,
And
the
we'll-
water.
We'll be,
Oh,
Thank
we
you.
brought
We have
it.
to go home.
Yeah, I carted it in my trunk.
and we'll be
Yeah.
able to, we'll be playing golf prior to the.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah, you can do that on my account.
Okay, great.
I don't have
Sounds good.
He doesn't have one, I was gonna say.
Bob. Supervisor comments, I will start down here with Bob.
No, I have nothing. I'm glad to report we finally, I guess, made the agreements with the city of Fort Myers to change the DRI for the access road. And I think that's now, Tony, once and for all, going to be behind us.
that is, once we get the final ordinance yet, and again, I want to thank, I think you were not yet in the meeting, the TPCA, Carol Brocky and her contact with the council member, Rich Rittenberg, Phil, Steve Adams. It was a great team effort, it really was, with the planners and so. And Steve Belden, the community development director, met with us, as well as the city manager. And so I appreciate, Councilmember Bach arranged all that.
Yeah.
That was
We got very close to having an all residents on hand in red shirts meeting, but they
Didn't need
determined
it.
that wouldn't.
No,
be
we ended up saying, we're here to answer any questions, and that's it, thank you for, please approve it.
Okay.
I always believe in if you can say the least possible and get approval.
Well, you didn't ask anything about changing that wording of that deal, which is, I thought would send this thing back into orbit again. We didn't need that.
No, because, again, that was helpful that Friday, it was, I don't know if y'all know, it was the Friday before the, a week before, like 10 days before the council meeting, we met with the city manager, Councilmember Bonk arranged the meeting, and the planning director, Steve Belden, our community development director. And that's when we agreed, we showed them our language that we, the group wanted, the team wanted. And that's what, on Monday, the following Monday, because that's when they do their agenda packets, it made it the agenda packet. And it had a couple words missing that corrected that. So I really appreciate their efforts on it, city staff.
That's great.
They were very responsive.
Yeah, very, very
Very responsive.
Supervisor Guy, anything from you, sir?
No, I have nothing.
Mr. Tinkle?
Yeah, the only thing, Tony, Kale Pale, and are they just simply waiting for
They,
for this
No, we're-
wetland deal?
We're just trying to clarify the language. They don't want to have any cost associated with the maintenance, and so I put language in there about, because we cannot, in my opinion, the board cannot say we're not gonna ever impose any special assessments against that property, the Cayo Palone. The idea is they're not going, Cayo Palone would not have to pay for what the district is paying to maintain that little area. We're paying for that, but we pay for it out of our special assessment, so I can't say they will never pay for any of it. So we're just trying to clarify.
They
that.
haven't
That's
said
all.
anything as to a timeline. Everybody's asking, when,
Oh,
is that
no.
thing gonna go or
I get the
what?
impression they want to do it quickly, only because now Mr. Charles, they're very helpful, by the way, very cooperative. They keep bugging me to get this finalized.
Okay.
So that's the sense
I kept bugging them and they didn't,
Now they're bugging
at
me.
first they were good and then
But
they
no,
said
they're
nothing
very,
and
very
now that they
helpful.
want to be done, then now they're all over us.
But they're very helpful, so I think they do have something,
I had nothing else.
that's what that tells me, just from experience. But
So in regards to, I just have this in regards to the roundabout, so the meeting's on the 17th?
Correct. I just wanted
Did
you
you
guys to
want-
have some time to look at that before the meeting, so that's all I have at this point.
Okay, so then you're gonna be looking for feedback from us on
Yes.
designs and
Yes.
what we think?
Yep.
Yeah, what they're also gonna bring is a proposed third amendment to the interlocal agreement. And I had my initial comments were, and you'll see, I'm not sure what document you'll have in front of you, but the document right now says that the county will discuss with the district the design, but the design is ultimately up to the county. And that in the future, if the district doesn't maintain it properly or repair or maintain, responsible for the whole operation, that the county can take it out at our cost, the district cost. So, I mean, that's just, I mean, that, the board may ultimately say, okay, we'll take that, we'll make that business decision, but those are just two policy decisions the board needs to make on that agreement.
Okay.
Because they're not saying they're gonna run the proposals by you, they said, we'll share them with you, we'll discuss, but we.
They're looking for feedback.
And if you
Yeah.
don't
They
take
want
care-
feedback.
Yeah, and if you don't take care of it, we're gonna take it out and you pay for the.
And then the last one is anything, I think Doug was gonna reach out about that roundabout by the,
Up here by the school.
by the school, yeah,
Yeah, the fall, I've got to follow up on that.
okay. That's it.
I do have one, there was a question that came in before we adjourned. Did you?
No, we're not adjourning, we're
Or
continuing.
before we continue the meeting, the adult flag football league, I don't recall a decision on that, he's asking.
Yeah, so, I was against the tackle football adults out there. The adult flag, I don't have a problem with it. It's additional revenue. It's on Sunday. We don't have anybody out there. And it might be a good opportunity. I mean, again, I think it's just revenue based, so I don't have any issue with it. I don't know if anybody else.
I don't.
Did I miss the continuing portion?
No, we're
No,
not there
we're
yet.
talking about flag football. right
So-
now.
No, I'm
Do you
talking
want
about
us to-
continuing. This meeting's gonna continue next week or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, Tuesday at
That's-
four,
that's what I meant.
4
That's
o'clock.
Tuesday at 4:00.
We're having Kyle come in, and we need to discuss our district
Oh,
manager.
we need to tell Bob
'cause
what-
Gary is
I'm
Gary
not
is
looking
leaving.
at it. We need to tell, we need to tell Bob about,
That's-
looking at all the candidates and be prepared
Yeah.
by Tuesday.
Yeah.
So maybe you can follow up with Lauren.
I'd make the motion.
One
to-
other comment before we,
Hold on,
well,
let's close out the flag.
informational, okay.
Okay.
I'd make the motion to go on ahead and allow them to fill out the application for the use of the field on Sunday.
And I'll
Okay.
second that motion.
9 to 2.
9 to 2, yep.
Yeah. As long as there's as long as they continue with no
Eight.
conflict with any of the
And then
existing leagues and they don't,
Tuesday.
encroach.
Sundays are like the one day that nobody's out there usually, so.
Anyway, okay, so we have a motion, any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay, so just also have him connect with, have Georgia send something for him to connect with the Gridiron
Yep.
football team, football league? Okay, so Bob, I'm sorry. go
Yeah,
ahead.
I had conversation with Stephen Agape this week, relative to the new development going across on the west side of the tree line. Because I've been out there now, they're starting to get the buildings on their roof, the roads are in, et cetera. And I asked him to verify that the permit criteria manual requirements are going to be applied over there vis-à-vis aeration, electrical service, et cetera. And he said it did, so I want to thank the
Pond
board.
aeration.
upon narration, I wanted to thank the board that we updated the permit criteria manual. At one time, we had a discussion, we're all done building. Well, we really aren't. There
We're
still
not.
are some that
No,
are out there.
we're
so
still building.
Yeah.
And it's gonna work to those residents' behalf that we now will require that by Lennar or whoever's building that area.
So that sidewalk that serves them is all,
It
Per
is,
the-
it is ugly. but it's
oh, I
legal.
saw it, yeah. It's,
But it's legal. They did finally put sod in there.
okay.
But I don't know what's gonna happen to anybody that goes off that road. They're gonna wipe out the sidewalk. There's no real safety
Yeah,
measure.
no, there's, I don't know what else you do.
No.
Elevate the sidewalk.
So, Tony, do we need a motion to continue?
Yes,
Or
the
do-
motion would be to continue this meeting to a date and time certain, and that will be at 4 PM on Tuesday, February 8th at this location.
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, see everybody on Tuesday, 4 o'clock.
Thank you.
Thank you.
5 o'clock. Nice job.
You did it.